All right, welcome to the show, y'all. Hope everybody out there is having a great day. It is Wednesday, July 22nd, and oh boy, it's rough, bro. It's rough. So in just a second, Trump is crashing out and sending nuclear planes to Iran. I wish I was kidding. I wish I was exaggerating, but I'm not. It is horrific to see. We have 11 straight days of bombing that the U.S. has just engaged in. And I remember, what was it, 4 days ago, that J.D. Vance was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he literally said, we're not just going to bomb and bomb and bomb. And he said that quite literally, as the U.S. was just bombing and bombing and bombing, and is now continuing to bomb and bomb and bomb, and also is sending nuclear planes to Iran. Psychotic stuff. We'll get into all that. We also have Trump panicking as Iran is now openly threatening to murder him. Okay, there's billboards now all over Iran. I'll show you all of them. The New York Times had a piece on it. Really, really wild stuff. Almost feels like we're living in a movie. And then, I can't wait for this one, bro, but Fox News has come after your boy. Fox News came after me personally, and they're trying to smear virtually every left-wing candidate in the country by proxy, okay? They came after me, they came after Progressive Victory, they came after Chris Robb and all these other Democratic Socialist candidates, and I will be responding to that in just a little bit, and I cannot wait, okay? We'll also get to Pete Hegseth crumbling in front of Congress and getting absolutely beat down. It's humiliating. He crashed out a number of times, and a bunch of Democrats calmly dismantled him to his face. And then also later on, Trump is targeting HASAN, PIKER, and DSA with a new terror blacklist. Just insane McCarthyite Red Scare garbage. And it is really, really dark, man. Like, this shows you what the future is going to look like. And it is not pretty. It is not pretty. They're going for it, man. They're going for snuffing out any and all serious dissent. And that should terrify all of you. So you guys know the deal, man. Everybody do me a big favor. Please subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon. That helps out big time and costs you nothing at all. You can also support Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. That link is below. You could also support the show on Patreon. Remember, y'all, there's real independent media. I've never talked to an advertiser, never done an ad read, never will. You guys support the show from the ground up. So thank you all for supporting the show. And then also, of course, go sub to the Corns World YouTube channel and come hang out with us live on Monday nights. All right, let's get right to it. All right, so here's where we're at, y'all. There's at least 18 U.S. service members who are dead now in the illegal and offensive war against Iran waged by the axis of Epstein, Israel, and the U.S. 9 people were killed in drone and missile strikes across Jordan, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia. In fact, what's happened is some people were taken from one area in the Middle East. They're at one base in the Middle East, and they're sent to a different base in the Middle East because the U.S. thinks, okay, Iran's definitely going to attack this base. Let's send them to this other base, which they're not going to attack, and then that base gets attacked. Okay, so Iran's intelligence is way better than the U.S. has realized. It's very possible that Russia or China or both are aiding Iran with their intelligence, which is leading to them to get some, spot-on hits here. But that's what's now happened a number of times. In fact, the most recent round of deaths, I believe that's the reason why, is because they were moved from one base to another, and then that new base was hit, okay? 6 more died when a refueling aircraft went down in western Iraq, and 3 were lost in last week's escalation. By the way, I said this at the beginning of the conflict. I'm going to say it again now. I think they're still underselling it. It was just reported the other day they absolutely have been underselling the number of injuries, but I'm also convinced they're lowballing the number of deaths as well. And they're doing everything they can to slow roll us, to release it. They leave big gaps in between when they release the information. They're trying to mitigate the negative PR as a result of people dying in a war that should have never fucking happened in the first place. Okay, so we also have this. Let me show you. Trump comes out and says the following. Every time Iran kills an American soldier, they will pay for that killing many times over. This directive has been passed on to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Daniel Kaine, and every leader in the military, President Donald J. Trump. So clearly panicking, crashing out. feeling like, oh, I'm going to look weak if I don't avenge U.S. soldiers being killed. By the way, one was 25 years old, another one was 19 years old. We just got the word today that there was a 28-year-old as well who was killed. Just insane. You know, we showed the pictures on the show the other day. These people should be alive. These people absolutely positively should be alive. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. Again, this war never should have happened. But here's Trump saying, well, now we're going to go after, we're going to hit you many times over for every one of us that you get, okay? All right, more. He also said this: from this point forward, anytime the Islamic Republic of Iran shoots at a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, whether it be by missile, rocket, drone, or any other device or weapon, the United States will bomb and destroy one bridge or power plant, including those located to or in the capital city of Tehran. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, only in this modern, depraved era of law of the jungle and might makes right can you have a U.S. president go out there and openly boast and brag that I'm the war crimes man, I am going to continue to commit war crimes, and you're going to deal with me doing war crimes, okay? I am proud of the fact that I'm going to go after your civilian infrastructure. So all these innocent men, women, and children, there's grandmas and grandpas and toddlers and babies who will all be horrendously negatively affected by this, okay? Trump doesn't care. He doesn't care. In fact, that's the point. That's the point. Which is why, by the way, I told you, when they attacked that little girls' school, they knew what they were doing. They knew that those were the kids of top IRGC officials. Okay? They knew that. And so they were sending a message to Iran, like, hey, we'll go lower than you can ever imagine. We just murdered 160 little girls. There's nothing we won't do to destroy you and defeat you. Okay? So tell me who the terrorist is. I'll wait. All right, more. Let me give you this. So President Trump's figure for innocent Iranian protesters killed by Iran during the January 2026 protests, said often for justification for his war, has steadily climbed week by week. So it went from 32,000 is what he said in a February news briefing. Then he said 52,000. Now he made it 52,000 plus. Okay? Now I told you all along, this is completely and utterly made up. This is bullshit. If you're an official U.S. state enemy, you get leeway to lie about those people as much as you want, right? If you're an ally, they lie in the other direction and they downplay and they undercount the damage you've done. For example, look at what happened in Gaza. Even just citing the Gaza Health Ministry numbers was viewed as, oh, you're not allowed to do that. Even though that was an undercount, they acted like it was an overcount, right? So depending on your status in terms of what you are in relation to us, that determines what you get away with and which direction they lie, right? But here's the reality. So a U.S.-funded human rights group said it's actually 7,000 deaths, including hundreds of Iranian police and security personnel. So in other words, both sides of the fighting, and 7,000 was the total figure. And Iran's government figure is about 3,100. Trump has now made it 52,000 plus, bro. 52,000 plus. And I love that he says this to justify why he needs to continue doing war against Iran. So, in other words, you guys have been so bad to your civilians that I have to come in and save your civilians by bombing them, by murdering them, by killing their precious little girls, by taking out the power plants and the bridges. See, this is what I'm saying. I really got to write a book on this, bro. I really got to write a book on this. Postmodern conservatism. We are in the era, yes, it's fascism. Yes, it's oligarchy. Yes, it's kakistocracy. Yes, I've called what Trump does mobocracy. All these things are true. But postmodern conservatism really defines the era. It's a conservatism completely and utterly unmoored from logic, reason, rationality, history, objectivity, empiricism, truth. It's literally just a fat pedophile, rapist, con man, terrorist making shit up as he goes along. One day, I'm going to kill all your civilians because you're bad. I'm going to kill all of them. The next day, why are you killing your own civilians? You got to stop killing your own civilians. Like, oh my God, it drives me crazy how little fucking sense it makes. And the fact that anybody goes along with this means we have genuine, 20, 30% of the population, maybe a little more, that has a mental disorder, a mental illness, or is so low IQ that it's a miracle they can tie their damn shoes. Okay, let me continue. Iran's army says it launched a large-scale drone attack on U.S. forces at Al-Duha camp in western Kuwait, targeting ammunition depots, logistics infrastructure, and a U.S. Army command center. The strike was carried out as part of the 21st phase of Iran's Thunder operation, which the army said was launched in response to repeated U.S. attacks on Iran. Iran's army described Al-Duha as a major U.S. military base and support hub in Kuwait, housing large numbers of U.S. personnel and equipment. So here's a little bit of what that looks like. Look at this. That's a lot of fireworks, y'all. That's a lot of fireworks. Okay. Confirmed destruction of the AN/FPS-117 long-range radar at the Ahmed Al-Jaber Air Base in Kuwait. Satellite imagery released by Iranian media. This radar was targeted 24 hours ago. See map below. So, in other words, what's happening here is Iran is successfully taking out more and more of our radar and our monitoring infrastructure. And what this does is it doesn't bode well for the future of the U.S. in the region, and it doesn't bode well for Israel, because a lot of this stuff is used to protect Israel when Iran counterattacks against Israel. And if we end up not having these monitoring systems in place, then effectively our bases and Israel become more and more sitting ducks, right? And I mean, it's just like the first day of the war, they took out like our biggest radar center. And then now here we are, and they're able to continue to find a crucial, vital U.S. infrastructure and go after that. So it kind of incredible stuff. All right, more, here we go. Kuwait is now rationing electricity because of Iranian retaliation against its power grid. Today's high in Kuwait City is 117 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh my days. It is madness for Trump to strike Iran's civil infrastructure when the reprisals are so bad. No, it's madness for Trump to attack Iran's civil infrastructure because that in and of itself is evil and atrocious and vile and disgusting and wrong. It is morally wrong. It also is bad that it's led to Iran counterstriking in the same way, but it's bad in its own respect. Even if Iran didn't respond by going after Kuwait's infrastructure like this, it would still be bad because Iranians count. They are people too. But imagine rolling blackouts when it's 117 degrees. That's life-threatening, period, full stop. That is life-threatening. People can die. A massive number of people can die because of that. And this is what Trump has brought us, and this is what Netanyahu has brought us. Okay, the Wall Street Journal says, Israel believes Iran moved thousands of uranium enrichment centrifuges into tunnels deep inside a mountain last fall. Israeli and U.S. officials say a development that would heighten concerns that Tehran could reconstitute its nuclear program. Okay, goddamn. So Israel comes out and says this. Now, here's the thing. You ready for this? What's their evidence? They made it up. They pulled it right out of their ass. That's what this is. They made it up. Okay. Breaking. Trump announces the U.S. will hit Iran's Pickaxe Mountain nuclear facility, quote, pretty soon, very heavily, adding there's nothing they can do about it, indicating he will use nuclear earth-penetrating bunker busters, as these are the only weapons that can properly destroy pure granite mountain fortifications at a depth of up to 145 meters. Do you understand what he's threatening here? So stop and think about it. Israel goes to the U.S. and says, oh yes, our intelligence shows that this Pickaxe Mountain place is where they moved all of their nuclear stuff. Oh yes, this is where we would need to attack. And then Trump goes, okay, let's do it. The same way we got into this war in the first place. You got Trump and Netanyahu in the Situation Room. Trump isn't even sitting at the head of the table. Netanyahu goes, you should do it. It worked in Venezuela. It'll work here. You'll go down in history as like the president who solved this problem. It'll be amazing. Trump goes, okay, let's do it. Every other president said, we're not fucking doing that. Shut the fuck up. And it's not going to be easy, you idiot. Joe Biden said that. Barack Obama said that. Bill Clinton said that. George W. Bush said that shit. But Trump was so fucking stupid, he went along with Netanyahu and fucking gave in to the warmongering impulses. Well, now they're working him again. Oh yeah, I got it to Pickaxe Mountain. Nobody heard of Pickaxe Mountain fucking 6 days ago. Now all of a sudden, oh yeah, Pickaxe Mountain. Not only are we going to attack there, we're going to use bunker-busting nuclear weapons. We're going to nuke a country. Are you out of your fucking minds? This is insane. And now, what did I tell you? The nuclear planes are in the air. They're already in the fucking air, bro. Look, multiple U.S. Air Force B-1 Lancer heavy strategic bombers departed the U.K. shortly after Trump directly threatened strikes on Iran's Pickaxe Mountain nuclear facility. The U.K.'s new Prime Minister Burnham has also just approved the use of UK bases for US strikes on Iran, per Bloomberg. So the vassal state is vassal stating, y'all. Fucking embarrassing and pathetic. A whole country of cucks over there in the UK. But look at this. Look at this. The nuclear planes are in the sky as they're openly saying Pickaxe Mountain needs to be attacked. That's where the nuclear stuff is. And we are going to use bunker buster nuclear weapons to get inside the granite mountain and blow it all up. By the way, let me just state for the record right now, if they do it, not only is this completely and utterly psychotic, there is a 0% chance it'll work. In the same way that last June, when they attacked the Fordo nuclear facility, they went out there the next day and said, oh, it worked. We destroyed all of their weapons. The problem is solved. The problem is over. That was complete and utter lies. They didn't get Dickie McGee's axe. They got nothing. They got bupkis, okay? But they lied about it. And then, wow, would you look at that? The same people who told us the problem is solved and we destroyed all their nuclear stuff, turns out, fast forward, not that much in the future, and they were like, we're going to do a full-scale war against Iran because we got to solve this problem. What? I thought you just solved the problem, you told me. Oh, you didn't? It turns out you made that up and lied about it? Well, here we are, same shit. They're going to nuke them and pretend like it worked and then go, turns out it didn't work, but we're going to say it worked as we continue to fight the war, proving it didn't work. Oh, my God. U.S. official to the Washington Post. We do not have enough air defense and long-range munitions due to low supply and battle damage to safely sustain operations, and I don't think the White House is aware of that. So this is another reason why I fear what comes next. We don't have the weaponry we need anymore. We're blowing through our interceptors. We're blowing through all sorts of stuff here, okay? We partially wanted the MOU to reload and refresh and replenish. Turns out that didn't last very long, so we haven't reloaded, refreshed, and replenished. So we are running low on virtually everything. And meanwhile, Trump's like, I'm not interested in negotiation. I'm not interested in diplomacy. We violated every deal we made with Iran. So what's left? You tell me. What's left is a ground invasion. What's left is taking Karg Island or Keshem Island or any of the oil important islands. What's left is this virtue signal nuke where he would bomb the mountain and act like this solves the problem. But none of the options that are actually on the table are good. They're all terrifying, and they're all a fucking fat idiot acting like he's a cornered animal. Okay, that's what you need to understand. This is uncharted territory that we're in right now. And perhaps the most eerie part of all of it is like, I really don't see the proper reaction to this moment that we're in. It is very disturbing to see everybody's reaction to this, just acting like it's another day. People go, oh yeah, okay, so we're bombing Iran again. I've seen this movie before, right? Oh, I guess gas is going to go up 2 more cents. No, it gets a lot fucking worse than that, son. It gets a lot worse than that. Okay, here we go. Some more. Breaking. Iran's IRGC says it has destroyed the entire Amazon Central Data Center facility in Bahrain with several cruise missiles overnight, and warns it will now strike more tech facilities per Tasnim. The IRGC says this will begin a new phase, with Iran having previously warned 18 U.S. tech companies, including Tesla, Microsoft, Google, Apple, Nvidia, and Oracle, as legitimate targets. Iran has also previously declared all of Elon Musk's companies as targets, specifically Starlink ground stations and satellites. So, brand new front in the war, y'all. Just like what we're seeing in Russia is Wildberries, their version of Amazon being attacked. Now, Ukraine says they also, build military stuff there, and that's why they attacked. But in the same way we're seeing that, now what we're seeing is Iran's going, all right, if it's on like Donkey Kong, then it's on like Donkey Kong, bitch. And we're going to go after Amazon's data center, and we're going to go after all these big, important U.S. corporations to further show you can't fuck with us. Okay, you can't fuck with us. We'll fuck up your gas prices, and we'll also fuck up your stock market and your companies and lead to a global crash. Okay, do you not understand how serious this is yet? All right, more. Brent crude oil this morning surged to $94. The Strait of Hormuz is still closed, and Bab el-Mandeb is banned to Saudi navigation. What did I tell you? All the tricks of the trade are fucking not working anymore. And what do we do in this situation when we're at the bottom of the strategic reserve and every way of getting oil out of the Middle East is shut down? Look at this. Israelis in private Telegram group are mocking the death of the 19-year-old U.S. soldier Isabella Gonzalez. She died protecting Israel. They are laughing. Look at this. This is the picture of her. 19, bro. 19. 865 laughing emojis. By the way, Israel was asked if they plan on getting back in the war, and they go, we like the position we're in. In other words, yeah, go ahead. Let the Americans fight. Let the Americans die. Let Trump fucking fuck this up 1,000 ways to Sunday. Because again, what does Israel actually want? Their goal is the forever war. So they're already getting exactly what they want right now. Because effectively, they want Iran off the table as a regional power. That's what you need to understand. In order to create a greater Israel project, you need to remove any resistance to that. The way you do that is you make Iran fight a forever war and become a failed state. And so if the U.S. is going to do that for them, that's all they want. Okay? And then think about it. What happens in a scenario where Iran's fighting a forever war against the U.S.? What happens is they no longer have the ability to continue to fund Hamas, to continue to fund Hezbollah. The Shia crescent and the axis of resistance falls, and then the Greater Israel Project becomes real. Okay, they've done a genocide in Gaza, taking that land, doing pogroms in the West Bank, eventually going to take all of that. They've already taken large swaths of Syria. They have plans, bro. Netanyahu brags about fighting an 8-front war. And he says, we need the 9th front to be in the media, where he wants to censor, kick people off who criticize Israel, pay people to push out his narrative. So they're trying to build a Greater Israel Project. Part and parcel of that is take Iran off the table. So with the U.S. fighting a forever war against them, that does that. Trump doesn't have the same goal as Israel. Trump wants Iran to be like Venezuela. Hey, we're going to do a regime change, we're going to put a puppet in there, and then you're going to give us all of your oil, and we're going to get rich off of your sovereign wealth. That's what Trump wants. Netanyahu doesn't even want that. The point is the death. The point is the destruction. The point is the sadism. The point is the forever war. Let them waste money and resources fighting the U.S. so that we get stronger and stronger and stronger, and we can dominate the Middle East, become a regional superpower, and eventually a global superpower. That's the goal of Iran. And this is what they actually... That's the goal of Israel, and this is what they actually fucking think of you. This right here. Laughing at a 19-year-old U.S. soldier who probably only even was in this position because they're poor and they needed money and they didn't have any prospects, right? Killed them, 19 years old, and laughing about it. Laughing about it. The death of this soldier is 100% on Donald Trump and 100% on Benjamin Netanyahu. This is not the fault of Iran, not even a little bit. Because if the axis of Epstein did not start this illegal war of aggression, this girl would be alive. You know that, I know that, everybody knows that. Okay? Enough of the bullshit. If you're waging an illegal war of aggression against a country that didn't attack you, you're the baddie. You're the baddie. And so here we are as a result of that. So, atrocious updates, y'all. Atrocious updates. We have the president crashing out and sending nuclear planes to Iran. We have 11 straight days of bombing, and it appears like there's no end in sight until we run out of munitions. And then what? It's either a ground invasion, or you try to take the islands, or you nuke Iran, or use a Moab, or whatever. But this is not going to fucking end well. And there's no fucking off-ramps left, and everybody knows it. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to. So Trump really set the country back a generation, y'all, both in policy, but also in terms of, like, PTSD and, like, trust. Now the whole country is going to have trust issues forever and always because this guy, I mean, I've never seen somebody lie with such ease, in such a casual, nonchalant, blasé way. So on that point, here's a montage of Trump's statements on wars, and think about where we are now. Here we go.
The war on aggression will not be my first instinct.
We are ending the era of endless wars.
I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars.
We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran.
I think you'll see it's going to be a short-term excursion.
What makes you so sure this won't become a quagmire?
We're not going to be there.
You're convinced this won't become a quagmire?
It's not a quagmire. Just wiped out the military of a very dangerous country. We're almost finished.
He said we're almost finished 6 weeks ago.
If you had to play the compilation of everything he said on this, it would be, I mean, we'd be sitting here for 2 hours Because the number of times he said, I destroyed their military. We actually already hit our goals. Actually, the war's already over. But we're going to continue the war, and we're going to keep attacking their military, even though we've destroyed their whole military. If you had to go through all that, we would be here for 2 hours. Okay? This is why people hate politicians right here. Is because they look at a guy like this, they go, how was it even possible for you to lie so boldly and so arrogantly, to say with your whole chest, we're going to end the endless wars, I'm the anti-war candidate, no more wars, never started a war. He does all that shit, and then immediately when he gets in there, he's like, how about I do like 7 of these things? And that's to say nothing. We're talking about Iran here. That's to say nothing of Venezuela. That's to say nothing of fucking Nigeria and Somalia and all the other places where he's bombing willy-nilly casually. Okay, but let me give you some more. So, the No New Wars president tried to point out here, think about the argument he's making. Think about what's implied with this post. Trump is trying to say, get off my ass about these soldiers who died in this illegal war that I started. Look at this. He posted, Afghanistan war, 20 years, 2,000 dead. Iraq war, 9 years. It was longer than that shit. Are you fucking kidding me? 4,600 dead. Vietnam war, 19 years and 5 months, 58,000 dead. Korean war, 3 years and 1 month, 36,000 dead. Venezuela war, 1 day, 0 dead. Iran military conflict, 4 months, 18 dead. So, do you get this? Do you get the point here? He's going, all these other wars, so many people died. There's not even that many people dying. It hasn't even gone on for years yet. Everybody shut up and get off my ass. Yeah, pretty sure that's not a reasonable way to think about this. Pretty sure the way you think about this is from first principles, and the way you think about this is evaluating the evidence in this war, and everybody knows it was an illegal war of aggression against a country that didn't attack us and wasn't a threat. And you changed your reasoning for it like what? 12 times? We're going to stop the nuclear weapons. It's not about the nuclear weapons. They're a criminal regime, and we have to take them down. No, actually, they were going to attack us. They're going to try to attack us, and that's why we had to do it. He changed it so many fucking times. I mean, it's like, again, baboon regime. This is a baboon regime. Okay, he also did this. If that last post wasn't clear enough, he tried to make it even more clear. These are the real facts. Report them. And then it shows the exact same thing. Oh, look at all the people that died in the Vietnam War, the Korean War, the Iraq War, the Afghanistan War. But in Iran, there's only 18 dead, and you guys are coming after me? Shut the fuck up. Is this how an adult acts in this situation? This is humiliating. This is embarrassing. This is unbecoming of a president. This is directly trying to downplay the deaths tied to his illegal war of aggression. And then also, let me add, this fucking chart likes to leave out the innocents on the other side. You fat pedophile war criminal prick. Weird. You didn't include the deaths of the little girls in an elementary school that you bombed. Funny how that works. He also, I think we're at thousands now of innocent Iranians who've been killed. No concern whatsoever. No concern whatsoever. Again, depraved is not even the word. In the Venezuela war, by the way, he promised at the time, this is not a war. The Venezuela thing's not a war. This is a special military conflict or something like that, right? Now, he's like, oh yeah, it was a war. He acknowledges that. But Iran, he's still not calling a war, even though it lasted way longer. Why? Because he's trying to avoid legal responsibility. And by the way, there was a grandmother in Venezuela, in the capital city, Caracas, named Rosa Gonzalez, who was murdered by the strikes that happened when they kidnapped Maduro. There was also a single mother who was trying to protect her kids who was killed. No commentary on that. Nobody cares. Because he doesn't look at Iranians as people, and he doesn't look at Venezuelans as people. He's a subhuman fucking racist who doesn't look at others as equal. And so they're not included in his fucking casualty numbers. And the whole point is to downplay the casualties. It's so gross. It's so gross. All right, how about this one? This is what Iran's doing, by the way. Knockout coming. Inside Iran's rope-a-dope strategy against the U.S. and Israel, Murtaza Hussein breaks down how Tehran is systematically dismantling the U.S.-built Middle East air defense network that helps shield Israel behind layers of radars, THAAD, and Patriot systems across the Gulf and Jordan. Maher says Iran deliberately conserved its more advanced missiles while degrading those defenses, comparing the strategy to Muhammad Ali's rope-a-dope. Absorb pressure, wear down the stronger opponent, then strike harder. So at the beginning, when they were launching missiles and stuff, these were their old, more primitive missiles, okay? And then as time went by, they blow through all of those. Then now they have the better stuff. Now they have the new stuff. Now they have the more sophisticated stuff and the more powerful stuff, okay? Also, they're smart enough to know, probably using either Russian or Chinese intelligence or both, hey, here's where the actual defenses are for Israel in the Middle East. And so they've been attacking all the U.S. bases. They've been attacking all of our radar systems there. And then that'll eventually leave Israel a sitting duck. They're smart. They're smart. They at every turn, they outplayed the U.S. and Israel at every single turn. And nobody's really talking about that. Okay? This is why Trump is panicking, and this is why he's acting like a cornered animal, and this is why he's floating using bunker buster nuclear weapons for Pickaxe Mountain. Because he don't know what the fuck else to do. Ground invasion, take the islands, nuke the fucking mountain, and these are the actions of somebody who's desperate. All right, more breaking. Iran has organized more than 1 million fighters for potential ground battles with the U.S., saying it is waiting for the arrival of American troops on the ground to set them on fire and punish their regional partners forever, per Iranian state TV. Iran adds, "We have been waiting for this moment for years. Come on, we are ready for you. Warning it will create a historic hell for the Americans on Iranian soil and will expand the war to the entire region." Iran also reaffirms it currently has no plans for negotiations and is focused on defense and ground battles preparations, per Maher. So they're ready, bro. They're ready. All right, how about this? Breaking. Iran's IRGC has announced it will target U.S. and Israeli commanders directly in their private residences in retaliation for American strikes on the homes of Iranian commanders and their families, per an IRGC statement. Quote, "Because you targeted the private residences of our commanders and their families, all your commanders in the region will now be targeted in their private residences as well." Financial Times reported that Iran has already proven it can find U.S. personnel anywhere. Tehran used SS7 mobile network vulnerabilities and commercial ad data to track American troops in hotels and bases across the Gulf, enabling precise strikes. So again, what's the theme here? The theme here is they are way more advanced than the U.S. and Israel realize. They're probably using Russian intelligence and Chinese intelligence. It looks like they're being resupplied at a very steady clip. In fact, it wasn't that long ago that it appears like they still have 70% of their munitions as they did at the beginning of this thing. So in other words, the U.S. and Israel are much more quickly blowing through their munitions than Iran is blowing through theirs. And their intelligence is far above and beyond what anybody realized. So it is not working out. All right, and then more. Here's Trump crashing out and panicking at a reporter here who asks him a very reasonable question, and he has no solid answer, and so he loses it.
Mr. President, there are no signs that Iran is ready to stop fighting. So what is the plan? Is the plan to just keep bombing until they give up?
There are no signs. What, do you know something that I don't know?
Well, they continue to attack our allies and
You
kill
don't know
Americans.
what the dialogue is behind the scenes, that they want to meet desperately to try and end it because they're getting decimated. You don't get that when you listen to your fake station, but...
That's insane. Iran has literally said multiple times, not only do we not want to talk to you now, we don't want to talk to you ever because you can't keep your word. You can't agree to a deal. So here he goes, "Oh, they're calling me. They desperately want to make a deal." That is completely and utterly made up in every way. All right, it's insane to me he's still getting away with this. This is simply market manipulation when he does this. They're calling. They want to make a deal. I swear. Like, the Strait of Hormuz will be open shortly. It's already open, actually. This is all market manipulation. And by the way, they've made billions off of the market manipulation around this illegal war of aggression.
You don't know. You don't know anything.
So talks are
you know
still
something that I don't
possible,
know? Do you know something I don't know?
Well, tell us.
I will tell you, they want to desperately meet, and until they're ready to meet in a meaningful way, we have no interest in even...
Flips the truth exactly on its head. There's literally no point in actually talking to Trump and asking him anything because he reliably lies about everything. So what's the point? What's the purpose? He's just going to say some shit that you have to correct the record on after? It's useless. It's completely and utterly useless. Okay, here's the big one, y'all. Here's the big one. Midas Touch says, "Wow, these billboards are up on bridges and buildings in Tehran." Okay, and this was reported on too by the New York Times, just so you know. This is legit. Ready? Look at this. "Hey, terrorist, get ready to die." And then it shows killed Ivanka Trump, killed Melania Trump, killed Barron Trump. They're putting these billboards up there. It says here, Central Tehran billboard depicts Trump in a coffin. That's this one right here. You can see with his big ass belly popping up at the top of this screen or at the top of this billboard. Okay. All right. More. Look at this one. "Hey, terrorist, get ready to die." And it's a "Make America Great Again" hat with a bunch of blood and what looks like Trump's head. All right. More. "You will drown in the sea of the," I don't know if that says blood or whatever, but you got Netanyahu, you got Pete Kegsbreath, the Secretary of War Crimes, you got Marco Rubio, I think that's Steve Witkoff, but I'm not sure, and then you have Trump right here. Bro, they're not fucking around anymore, dog. And by the way, Trump sees this. Trump knows this. Trump absolutely positively is panicking as a result of this. And what's so funny is Iran was not in any way, shape, or form threatening Trump, going to go after Trump, going to target Trump. And the Israelis convinced Trump that one of Trump's like 4 fake assassination attempts, that one of them was actually carried out by Iran. They tried to convince him that multiple of them were carried out by Iran. And that sort of psyoped Trump and tricked him into then being more open to be a warmonger and go to war with Iran, right? So he wasn't a target of theirs. And then now that he's committed war crime after war crime, killed their little schoolgirls, killed their top IRGC officials, bombed them now for 11 days straight, taken thousands of innocent civilian deaths or thousands of innocent civilian lives, and bombed their bridges and their power plants and their hospitals and shit. Now they're like, okay, yeah, fuck you. Now we want you dead, bitch. And so he sort of manifested this because he's a fucking idiot and he's a cuck to Netanyahu. Absolutely astonishing stuff here, bro. Absolutely astonishing. He is terrified of this. I can promise you that. In the same way that when he saw Lindsey Graham at 71 years old kick the bucket with a massive heart attack, that scared the shit out of him because he realized his own mortality, that he's fucking 80 years old, and that Lindsey Graham appeared to be in better shape than Trump, and now he's gone. This is the same shit. Now he's looking around going, holy fuck. But it also is why, yet again, you should fear that he's going to lose his damn mind and do something that historically will be looked at as one of the worst atrocities in human history. Okay, how about this one? A month-long Sky News investigation into the U.S. double-tap strike on a Minab girls' school found the Pentagon had tracked the site by satellite since 1987 and could still count children's shadows in the courtyard before firing anyway. Oh, would you look at that? By the way, there's a slight fact check here. It was actually a triple tap, not a double tap. They bombed it 3 times. What the evidence shows, 3 Tomahawk missiles fired from the USS Spruance, 716 kilometers away in the Arabian Sea, hit the Shajareh Tayyibeh Elementary School in Minab on February 28th, the opening day of the U.S.-Israeli war in Iran. Witnesses described a second strike hitting the exact spot where a teacher had moved surviving students for shelter. Oh my days. Killing nearly everyone who had taken cover there. A third strike followed on the same site. Death tolls range from 156 to over 170, most of them girls aged 7 to 12. The school had been walled off from the adjacent IRGC naval base since at least 2015, had its own website, and was geolocatable through open source materials any analyst could have pulled in minutes. Built to fail. The Pentagon's own machinery for preventing exactly this outcome had already been dismantled. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth slashed the Civilian Protection Center of Excellence workforce by roughly 90% and cut CENTCOM's civilian casualty assessment team from 10 people to 1. Months before the war started, a May Pentagon Inspector General report found the office had become a shell on paper with no budget, no mandate, no real mission. A functioning warning system was defunded on purpose and then blamed for not warning anyone. Accountability buried. 4 months on, CENTCOM's commander told reporters the investigation was near complete, yet nothing had been released. Asked in June whether anyone would face consequences, Trump called it a strange question, adding that mistakes are made and war is nasty. The mistake was choosing not to fund the office that exists to catch mistakes like this one. My take, a military that surveilled the schoolyard for 4 decades didn't fail to see the children had decided in advance that seeing them wouldn't change the targeting. Nobody in this chain lacked information. Yeah, so why don't everybody needs to just come out and say it? They did it on purpose. Okay, they did it on purpose. By the way, they also just the other week bombed a children's hospital. They did that on purpose. It's all on purpose. They're bombing bridges. Trump is bragging about bombing bridges. He's bragging about bombing nuclear plants. They are purposely going after civilian infrastructure and civilians. So understand that. This was a school that had the kids of IRGC officials, so members of the government. Their little girls went to this school. They knew that. They were sending a message. We'll do anything to win this war. We'll kill your kids. We don't care. That's what it is. So this is the thing everybody needs to realize. They are on the same moral level as ISIS. They are on the same moral level as Al-Qaeda. Okay? They're on the same moral level as the most famous serial killers of all time. They just are. This is who these people are. They are vile, wretched, repulsive creatures. They're subhuman filth. And they act exactly like Nazis because they think exactly like Nazis. Iranians don't count. The civilians there don't count. The civilians in Gaza don't fucking count. The civilians in Lebanon don't fucking count. They're brown, they're Muslim, fuck them. This is how they think, okay? And they think, I'm going to be big, macho man, tough guy, I'm going to kill everybody in sight, then I'm going to declare victory, and I'm going to win the thing. And they think everybody's going to cheer them on. Woo, yay, oh, you're so special, you're so amazing. Meanwhile, You're basically goose-stepping and zig-heiling and showing the world the true face of what you are. And when that mask comes off, everybody who's reasonable, everybody who's rational and has any empathy or moral core is going to go, oh my days, get the fuck out of there and get in prison, because that's where they all belong, in prison. All right, Trump is trying to use the persecuted Iranian people to justify his botched war efforts against Iran. So again, we just talked about how they purposely bombed a school. They purposely bomb power plants and nuclear facilities and bridges and hospitals. So they're purposely going after civilians, but Trump is out there on Lie Social and he's posting, "Stop killing us," with an AI-generated picture of what's supposed to be an Iranian woman, okay? "This 18-year-old was also executed today. Please help. Please be their voice." And it's, again, don't know if it's AI-generated or not, but it's an Iranian person who Trump is theoretically expressing concern for, right? This 23-year-old, he was executed by the Islamic regime this morning, alone, innocent. Trump says, the latest one of 52,000 plus innocent protesters, savages. When will the Democrats wake up? So again, at the same time he's out there saying shit like, I'm going to annihilate an entire civilization of people. Remember when he said that? He's threatened nuclear weapons multiple times. There are nuclear planes in the sky right now to maybe go after their Pickaxe Mountain facility. At the same time he's doing that, at the same time he's carpet bombing Iran. He's bombed them 11 nights straight. Thousands of innocent civilians have been killed by him in Israel. He's going, look at these poor civilians. We need to save these civilians from being killed by their government so I can kill them instead. That's basically what's going on here. It never made any fucking sense, and you know it. You know it never made any sense. If you're in MAGA, shame on you. Shame on you. And also, what the fuck? What happened to America first? These motherfuckers are kicking 18 million people off Medicaid and taking that money and using it to bomb schools. No, how about just let people have the Medicaid and stop bombing schools? Okay? They kicked nearly 5 million people off the food stamp program, the SNAP program. Why are you making it so that kids starve? Literally, kids are starving, and you're going to take that money and want a $1.5 trillion budget to continue to terrorize the world? Get the fuck out of here, bro. This is America last, is what this is. Holy shit. Well, actually, technically, no, it's Iran last because you're murdering them. Okay, but it's close to America last. That's for damn sure, because you don't give a fuck about this. And don't take my word for it. Take his word for it when he said, I don't care about Americans' financial situation at all. All right, how about this one? Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich. Israel has no interest in joining the limited confrontation between Iran and the United States. The current situation is the best possible for us. In other words, go ahead, bitch, do my dirty work for me. Go ahead, you little cuck boy, go ahead. Start bombing Iran, start attacking Iran, waste all of your fucking munitions, waste all your money, have your soldiers die, kill their civilians, blow up the region, make it a failed state, make the lives of the people who live in the region hell. Go ahead. We want you to do that. But we want you to do it, and us, we're just going to sit back and sip a mojito and watch this bitch unfold as we keep murdering Palestinians in Gaza and stealing land in the West Bank and in Syria. And Lebanon, by the way. They're like, okay, y'all go handle that, and then we'll be over here expanding our borders. So it really is the classic, like, we got you to start the shit, and now, shit, what time is it, dog? I got to get out of here. I just realized I got to pick the kids up from soccer practice. Y'all want to keep doing the shit? Go ahead. You do the thing. I'm gonna go chill. That's where we're at. There you have it, y'all. There you have it. Not good. Not good. Trump is panicking as Iran is threatening to murder him, and it's all coming undone. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to. Boy, oh boy, y'all. Boy, oh boy. It happened again. It happened again. It happened again, man. They came at me. So Fox News has come at me, what was it, like 2 times recently? But it was like sort of in passing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like they played a clip that was 7 seconds of me and nobody said my name, and then they react. Whatever it was, you guys can go look at the video. We covered it at the time. Well, now they're writing full articles, homie. They're writing full articles on what your boy says. Yummy. Come to Papa, okay? I've been looking forward for this. In fact, how many times have you heard me say? I told Joy Reid last week, I was like, bro, what is it? What do I have to do to get on their radar? I don't understand. Is it the fact that I'm white, that like I largely get a pass? I'm a white male, right? With the fucking Deminem bleach blonde hair. Is that why? Like, what is it? Because they go after Joy Reid like crazy. They go after Jennifer Welch like crazy. Obviously, Hassan to them is public enemy number one. And part of that is because his name is Hassan, right? But what do I have to do? Is it because my name is Kyle? Is it like the fucking, the least threatening name to old white people imaginable is Kyle? But it took them a while. But we're finally here where they're coming after me aggressively, okay? So I'm going to get to that in just a second. But first, let me show you. The other day, I'm scrolling through Twitter, and this pops up on the timeline. And I'm going, oh shit, that's what's up. So one of these so-called anti-Semitism monitor groups, which is not really that, like the whole purpose of this group called the Canary Mission, it's one of those groups that's like, if you say, hey, I think the Israel lobby is kind of bad. I'm not sure they should be able to spend this much money in politics and like bias our Congress people. They go, anti-Semitism. It's one of those groups, right? It's like a fake anti-Semitism monitor. If I'm not mistaken, Crystal mentioned, didn't they do some shit with ICE? I think they were involved with ICE. Like they tried to get people deported or some shit. Like, they're bad news. They're bad news. But they decided in order to go after DSA candidates, they found a way that they thought they could do that, right? They took this live stream that we did with Progressive Victory. Shout out to the people of Progressive Victory. We did this live stream where myself and Hassan and Crystal and a bunch of media people, I think Vosh was on the stream, a bunch of new media, independent media, left-wing people, we just lent whatever sort of name recognition we have, credibility we have, audiences we have. We did a stream and we had on one candidate after the next, after the next, after the next, after the next. And, everybody said their piece. And so what they did is they took my commentary from it, which was about the war in Iran and why we're in it and what's going on. It was more of an analysis than anything else. And they thought I said some spicy ass things. You'll see in a second. And so they tried to use that to, by proxy, tar everybody else who was on the stream. By the way, literally none of those people were even on the stream when I was talking. And I know that because I had pre-recorded a video and sent it in and they ran it. I wasn't actually physically on the stream with other people at the same time, right? So think about it right off the jump. Think about how weak this is. This is weak sauce, y'all. Say, oh, he said this an hour and 53 minutes before this other person came on for 5 minutes and didn't even know Kyle was on the fucking stream, okay? Now, having said that, there's nothing they gotta fear, bro. This is one of those things where it's they think they're attacking you, but really they're posting your W's. All right, so here we go. First, let me show you the video that sparked all of this, because I think what happened is Fox News saw this clip, and they were like, ooh, we could definitely write an attack article over this, right? So here it is. This is what the Canary Mission posted. My favorite part of this, as you're going to see, is the scary music in the background to try to make it feel nefarious, even though I'm just spitting facts. But here we go. Listen. The U.S. government and the Israeli government, they're in the midst of creating the Fourth Reich. And it is absolutely accurate to compare these people to Mussolini, to Adolf Hitler. They're doing freeze frames of them. This is amazing. We're governed by dead-eyed psychopaths and sociopaths and bloodthirsty imperialists. The U.S. government and the Israeli government, they are the terrorists. They are the terrorists. They are doing terrorism. If Iran's off the table as a regional power, that means Hezbollah can't be funded, Hamas can't be funded, the Houthis can't be funded, the Shia Crescent falls, and then you have nothing but regional domination for Israel. There's a reason why I call Israel and the U.S. the axis of Epstein, okay? There's a reason why I've said repeatedly that they're in the midst of creating the Fourth Reich, because that sincerely is what they're doing. These are genuinely repulsive, disgusting, wretched, depraved human beings. And it is absolutely accurate to compare these people to the worst criminals in history, to Mussolini, to Adolf Hitler. It says DSA spreads hatred of America and advocates for its enemies. Come on, son! And they are only getting more extreme. Canary Mission is coming to save the day. Oh, my days. Oh, yes. Injected in my veins. My favorite reaction was Crystal. When I showed Crystal this, she was like, you're just doing analysis. You're not that's nothing. You think that was edgy? You think that was spicy? Bitch, tune into my show on any given Tuesday, and I'll give you a hell of a lot more than that. That was just analysis. Like, that was just objectively describing what is. Like, what are we even talking about here? So let's go through it. First of all, my reaction to this is, you know, it's funny. In the moment when I'm doing shows or I'm doing commentary or whatever, you know, sometimes right when I'm done, I'll be like, that was mid. Like, I don't know if I did a good job that show. Whenever you watch shit back, I'm like, damn, I'm good, bro. I'm like, damn, I was spitting. That was on point. I like all that shit. Fourth Reich, facts. I love that. That's such a great way of describing this current moment that we're in. Comparing them to Mussolini and Hitler, I mean, that shit is obvious. How many innocent civilians do we have to massacre on a regular basis? I mean, look at what Israel did to Gaza. You're telling me there's not a comparison there? Of course. They live streamed a genocide in 4K. Are you kidding me? They destroyed like 90% of the buildings in Gaza. 90%! And we're going to say, oh, how dare you compare him to Hitler? Are you fucking kidding me? It's the most obvious comparison of all time. There's normies who've made that comparison to me. Not even political people. They go, yeah, it's like some fucking Hitler shit. Of course. Dead-eyed psychopaths and bloodthirsty imperialists, again, is just objective. Calling us the terrorists. Yes, when you purposefully attack civilians, that's what that is. Like, that's the definition of that. You're attacking civilians for a political reason. That's the definition of terrorism. When I pointed out that Hezbollah and Hamas wouldn't be funded if Iran fell, yes, that's why Israel is all in, and they wanted this war. They wanted this war more than anybody, because they want to take Iran off the table as a regional player so they can create a greater Israel and dominate the region. That's obvious. Again, that's just analysis, bro. That's all that is. And then, of course, Axis of Epstein. I was fucking... the hand of God fucking blessed me when I came up with that turn of phrase. Okay, Axis of Epstein, are you kidding me? I should use it more often than I do. And then all the little descriptors that repulsive, disgusting, wretched, depraved human beings. So this was awesome. Shout out to Canary Mission. I know they were trying to come after me, but again, they're just highlighting my W's. So here's Fox News. Ready? America bashed as disgusting fascist regime during progressive call with Abdul El-Sayed and Cori Bush. Let me just say, I hope Abdul El-Sayed knows, and I hope Cori Bush knows, this isn't going to hurt you, right? Like, just everybody understand that, like, if you're worried, this part of the problem, unfortunately, with many of the people on our side is, like, oftentimes they're scared of their own shadow. God forbid you make news. God forbid you say something interesting and spicy. They feel like, oh, am I going to offend somebody? Like, no, you need to be honest. You need to tell the truth, okay? And sometimes when you tell the truth, the takes are going to be spicy. And so there's nothing here to be afraid of. There's nothing here to be worried about. Okay, so I would just caution people that up front. Again, shout out to Progressive Victory, because they actually, I think they released a statement. They were like, no, we're not fucking condemning anything. Shut the fuck up, which is like, okay, awesome, based. And by the way, look at the dishonest framing too. They frame it as like, I was saying America, full stop, is disgusting and fascist. No, I very clearly was saying the American government and the Israeli government. But of course, they got to try to find a way to, like, how can I make this wrong even though it's 100% accurate? All right, here we go. Several prominent Democrats were caught on camera participating in a progressive political video call, which began with one speaker comparing America to a Nazi regime ruled by, quote, dead-eyed psychopaths and bloodthirsty imperialists. You know the other side is cooked when they can't even muster up a counter-argument. They can't even, well, here's why it's not true that they're bloodthirsty imperialists. It's the thing, it's that meme where it's like that fat guy who's just like, they don't even try to make an argument anymore. They just look at you like this. Don't say that thing that's obviously accurate. Normies in today's day and age hear this and go, yep, I mean, I get it. I see it. I mean, that's how they're going to react when Israel does a genocide in Gaza. They do pogroms in the West Bank every 7 fucking minutes. And the U.S. is bombing girls' schools in Iran, like elementary schools. What do you expect people to do? Go to sleep going, well, gosh, golly gee, we sure are the good guys around the world. We love this, don't we, fellas? That's not going to happen, okay? Participants in the call, which was hosted by Progressive Victory in March, included Representative Ro Khanna, whose name has been floated as a potential presidential contender, and several Democratic Socialists of America endorsed candidates, including Abdul El-Sayed, Cori Bush, and Daria Liza Avila Chevalier. A spokesperson for Khanna has since disavowed the speaker's comments and said Khanna was not on the call at the time the remarks were made. Literally none of them were on the call when the remarks were made. It was just me. I was doing a monologue. He wasn't even there at the time. Again, don't be afraid of your own shadow. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. If any people are going to read this and go, damn, that dude's spitting fire. All right, more. The virtual event, which also featured controversial streamer HASAN PIKER, was titled Choose Your Fighter and was meant to highlight progressive politicians opposing the ongoing conflict in Iran. At the start of the call, organizers introduced left-wing podcaster Kyle Kalinske, who they called an up-and-comer in the movement. This is how you know whatever boomer wrote this has no fucking idea what they're talking about. Peter Pinedo, an up-and-comer. Bro, I've been doing this shit since 2012. What are we talking about? I'm like the OGest of the OG in this bitch. Up and comer. I'm 38 years old. My back hurts sometimes. What the fuck are we babbling about? Kalinske launched into a diatribe in which he accused the U.S. and Israel of creating the Fourth Reich. These are genuinely repulsive, disgusting, wretched, depraved human beings, okay? They enjoy the pain and the violence and the suffering and the death and the destruction that they inflict on the rest of the world, Kalinske railed, adding, it is absolutely accurate to compare these people to the worst criminals in history, to Mussolini, to Adolf Hitler. Kalinske claimed that we have descended into fascism and that the U.S. is governed by dead-eyed psychopaths and sociopaths and bloodthirsty imperialists. I have to say, bro, This is my favorite genre of attack piece. It really is. Because again, they think it stands on its own, that just quoting me back to people is going to be like, oh, they're going to hate this. But let's be serious. That's not going to happen. First of all, everybody on the left agrees with me. Like there's not a single person, liberal or leftist, who looks at this and doesn't go, yeah, of course. Like what we're doing right now is fucking unconscionable. But then also, if we're being honest, Trump's approval rating is at 30%. There are so many people who say, like, oh yeah, I supported Trump or I voted for Trump, and the main thing was no new wars. I like the no new wars thing. And then Trump goes, well, how about I start a war with Venezuela? How about I start bombing fucking Ecuador? How about I bomb Nigeria? How about I bomb Somalia? How about I threaten Greenland? How about I threaten Cuba? How about I do a regime change war in Iran that turns into a fucking forever war? And everybody's looking at it and thinking the same thing. Everybody's looking at it going, well, what the fuck? This is crazy. It's almost like, where are the baddies? So they act like, like, oh, this is out of left field. Like, the fuck it is. This is what everybody's thinking. Are you kidding me? But again, hat tip to them, shout out to them, because I'll ask you. You guys tell me. It almost feels like the dude who wrote it, low-key, he might be a fan. Because again, there's at no point is there an argument. At no point is there like, here's why this is wrong. It's just like, here's some of the greatest hits. And you can all giggle and enjoy it and realize how objectively true it is. It's incredible, bro. It's absolutely incredible. They say, he asserted that people need to come to terms with the fact that in this instance, the U.S. government and the Israeli government, they are the terrorists. They are doing terrorism. If Iran is off the table as regional power, that means Hezbollah can't be funded, Hamas can't be funded, the Houthis can't be funded, like the Shia Crescent falls, and then you have nothing but regional domination for Israel. Now, this is the first part. This is the first, like, objectively misleading thing that they do. They try to frame this as if embedded in my commentary was me saying, oh, this is a bad thing. But that wasn't what I was saying. I was just objectively describing the situation, that this is why Israel wants war with Iran, wants the U.S. to fight a war with Iran. Israel wants the U.S. to fight the war with Iran to do their dirty work, specifically because if Iran's gone, then there's no regional pushback to their domination of the region. And that's both because Iran pushes back against them, but also their proxies push back against them, Hezbollah and Hamas, right? That was the point. That's literally just like basic 101, barely college level analysis of the political situation. That's not at all like, I'm not saying anything prescriptive there, like, oh, it should be this way or the other way. I'm not saying that. I'm just describing what is. But they try to trick people into thinking I was, right? Kalinske also referred to the Make America Great Again movement as an imperialist fascist death cult. And it's time to take them down. In response, a spokesperson for Canary Mission, an anti-Semitism watchdog, warned that Kalinske's rhetoric evidences the growth of self-hatred for the U.S. on the part of the left. How about it's a factual analysis based in reality and anybody who disagrees is just wrong? How about that? How about it is people finally being honest, finally telling the truth, and finally not, desperately huffing American exceptionalism and pretending like it's real life. Like, that's the thing that's so weird about this, is everybody knows it on some level, bro. Everybody knows it. It's just I'm actually putting it into words for people, right? That's why people watch the show. It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense, and I didn't think about it quite like that. Yeah, that's the point. Is like, let's actually be honest about what's going on right now, okay? When you have ICE shooting people in the face on a regular basis and shoving people into concentration camps, and we get horror stories like people being sent to CCOT in El Salvador, another concentration camp, and they get tortured and they get graped, and then we have to learn all about it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is fascism. That is fascism. Now, I know it might hurt the feelings of right-wingers to have that told to them, but it's just, get over it. Nobody cares about your feelings. Fuck your feelings. Nobody cares. The truth has to override how you feel about it. And this is what they're doing. This is like boomers desperately trying to struggle with the nature of reality, and they can't quite grasp it because they were raised on mother's knee to be told that, like, we're always the good guys and we always do the right thing. And then meanwhile, what's happening now is literally the exact opposite of that, okay? Kyle Kalinski's speech at Progressive Victory's online rally attended by prominent DSA and Democratic politicians indicates the hateful and anti-American ideas proliferating on the left. See, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Anti-American ideas. How many times have I told you guys this, right? If you're a parent and you see your kid, using crystal meth behind a dumpster in the back of an Arby's and sucking dick for drugs, is the way you love your kid to go, I support you in anything and everything you do. Here's more crystal meth, and here's my friend Dave's dick to suck. No, you go, we're going to get you help. We're going to fix this, okay? We're going to get you off the drugs. We're going to get you into rehab. You're going to, stay at the house, and we'll give you the meals, and we'll work out, and we'll get you a therapist, and we'll figure it out. That's what you do. These people are looking at the functional equivalent of the drug addict kid, and they're going, I love you just the way you are when you bomb little schoolgirls in Iran. No, bitch. The highest form of patriotism is dissent. You have to dissent to fix it. So when we look at this, we go, hey, the best way to fix this is to stop bombing innocent people, stop waging illegal wars, stop building concentration camps, stop shooting people in the face. Let's actually try to live up to the promise of this country, okay? That's what we're saying. But, oh, you just hate America. Thank you for your fucking zero IQ, bonobo ass take. It's very welcomed in this conversation. I mean, Jesus Christ, what in the special needs garbage ass point is that? Oh my days. Support for terrorist regimes and historical revisionism has no place in American politics. Great. So what you're saying is you have no place in American politics because you're the one who's supporting a terrorist regime, the axis of Epstein. You're the one who's doing that. Donald Trump is a terrorist. Benjamin Netanyahu is a terrorist. If you support them, you're the one that's fucking doing that. You have no fucking place in American politics. And also, all these people are fucking Israel lobby pricks. You literally should be registered as a foreign agent and shouldn't be able to donate to politicians. You're a foreign entity taking over the U.S. government. And you're lecturing me, a fucking American who's born here, who has every right to say these things because I have a motherfucking First Amendment in my country? Fuck you. Fuck you. The spokesperson continued adding, this level of extremism must be distanced from the Democratic Party. No, bitch. You need to be distanced from not just the Republican Party, from the entire fucking country. That's the reality. Who are you? So anti-Semitism watch group. Who fucking funds you? Is it Netanyahu? Is it the Israel lobby? Who fucking funds you? And you're finger wagging at Americans for telling the truth? Get the fuck out of here. And the Democratic Party needs it. Democratic Party didn't say fucking shit, right? I support left flank Democrats. I don't care if they accept me or don't accept me. I'm going to support left flank Democrats because they're good and they're better on the policies, right? They didn't fucking take me under their wing or anything. The fuck are you doing here? Meanwhile, Benjamin Gilbert Liff, Deputy Executive Director of Progressive Victory, told Fox News Digital that, quote, we stand by the comments made by Kyle Kalinske. Gangster ass shit. Yo, shout out to Benjamin Gilbert Liff, bro. That is some gangster shit. We stand by the comments. Because you didn't, I wouldn't have been mad if they were like, look, he said it, it's his opinion, we believe in free speech. Could have said that, but nah, he took it gangster with it and confirmed that they reflect the views of our community and of the many Jewish members of our national leadership. Oh, would you look at that? Oh, the anti-Semitism watchdog ran into the little problem that the majority of Jews in this country agree with me. We also question why anyone would consider the idea of a Jewish state to be anything other than an explicit desire for an ethno-state, Gilbert Liff added. Progressive Voice stands against all ethno-states, and at Choose Your Fighter sought to uplift voices that would push for the region to peacefully transfer to a secular one-state democracy where Israelis and Palestinians can coexist without artificially imposed borders or legal preferences toward one ethnicity dividing them. Sarah Drury, a spokesperson for Kana, told Fox News Digital, Ro Khanna has always believed America is an exceptional country and was not on at the time these remarks were made. She said the congressman joined for 5 minutes to speak and left, added that he obviously disagrees with him. Okay, bro. All right. Fox News Digital reached out to Bush, Syed, Chevalier, and PIKER for comment. Oliver Larkin, a progressive Democrat running for Congress in Florida, whose campaign helped to organize the call, told Fox News Digital that the virtual event raised $40,000 for 20 progressive anti-war candidates nationwide. That's what's up, bro. $40,000 for 20 progressive anti-war candidates nationwide. He also charged that Congress must reassert its constitutional war powers and bring accountability to this dangerous, lawless Trump administration. Asked whether he stands by Kalinski's statement Larkin remarked, the crimes of the Epstein class are depraved. Based. He accused the Trump administration of, rather than enforcing U.S. and international law, continuing to fund an ongoing genocide. Fox News Digital also reached out to the White House and DSA for comment. They asked the White House for comment? Oh, no. Oh, my days. It's over for your boy, y'all. It is over. My ass will be in CCOP before the end of the year. God damn, yo. This is not good. It was all fun and games until the White House got involved, and Stephen Miller's fucking micro penis Goebbels looking ass is probably going to put me in a dungeon somewhere. Damn, this ended on a sour note. I was I was having fun and being all happy. Now I'm on the White House's radar. Goddamn. Anyway, come to Papa. I can take all the smoke. Fuck you, Fox News. Fuck you, Canary Mission. You guys think you're serious. You guys think you're... Like, that's the thing. They think of themselves as, like, serious people doing a serious thing. You are the biggest jokes in the country, okay? And not just you guys. Also, Fox News. You are the biggest jokes in the country. Your whole existence is to poison the minds of boomers and make them think up is down and left is right and right is left, right? Like, your whole existence is pathetic. Propaganda is dick riding for a fat pedophile, war criminal, rapist, con man, terrorist. None of you people who work at Fox News should be able to fucking sleep at night. What is wrong with you? It is literally state regime media. It is worse than fucking Pravda. And you have the nerve to come after me for telling the fucking truth and objectively describing what's happening with Israel and the US and this illegal war against Iran and the genocide in Gaza? Go fuck yourselves. The people are with me. They are not with you. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to. So the Secretary of War Crimes, Pete Kegsbreath, he sat down in front of a committee in Congress, and they absolutely grilled him to the high heavens, and they beat his smug, makeup-wearing ass into the ground, y'all. So first, let's start with this. He's got some nerve. Listen to what he says during the hearing. Here we go.
As I have said before, not fully funding this department, the Department of War. And we know what that means, that means $1.5 trillion, given the world that we live in and the disaster of what the Biden administration budgets gave us. Not funding this department at $1.5 trillion, I believe, is the greatest threat that our nation faces.
The biggest threat this nation faces is not giving $1.5 trillion to the military-industrial complex, where right off the rip, they're going to steal 63% of that and fail another fucking audit and take all the money and put it in a slush fund where the Epstein class fucking steals it and the rest of it they're going to use to bomb schools and hospitals? Are you fucking kidding me? What kind of a sick fucking joke is this? Shut up and give me 1.5 trillion. Are you the same people that are cutting Medicaid, cutting the food stamp program, the SNAP program, the same people that are gutting the regulatory state and making it so you're getting violent diarrhea from eating salad? They got no money for all the shit for you and me, but shut up and give me $1.5 trillion or else you're with the terrorists, is what he's saying here. Fuck you. Fuck you, but we're just getting started. All right, here we go. Now it's Hegseth and Shaheen go back and forth. Let's get it.
Obviously don't agree with your characterization of that.
I appreciate that, but you didn't ask. But I want you to answer my question. I know you don't agree with my characterization. I don't agree with yours either.
Well, one of the reasons I take issue with that characterization is something that Senator Durbin said when he talked about Ukraine and he talked about winning. And I appreciate as much as anybody winning a war. But I sit in front of a committee that wants to talk about winning a war that's been going on for 4 years and talks about strategic defeat of a conflict that's been going on for 4 months to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear bomb. I would hope for some perspective in this town of the historic nature of what President Trump is undertaking. Do you want radical Islamists to have a nuclear bomb?
I don't want to hear your speech because I have...
Do you want radical Islamists to have a nuclear bomb? Well, it's quite amazing then that Barack Obama was able to get a deal where they didn't have a bomb, and that was proven, and that was regulated on a regular basis, and the issue was taken off the table, and then your fucking fat pedophile war criminal president boss ripped up that agreement and ruined it. Maybe you should have stayed in that fucking deal, you disgusting freak.
Historic nature of what President Trump is undertaking. Do you want radical Islamists to have a nuclear bomb?
I don't want to hear your speech
world?
because I have limited time.
I don't understand.
You can't answer my question, then I will move on to my next question.
Yeah, he's never going to answer a direct question because he's a massive fucking piece of shit. And by the way, I love this, like, oh, it's all about the nuclear weapon. Well, that was one of the, 7 different reasons that he gave for the war, right? Half the time he's like, we got to save these protesters who are being killed by Iran. We want to kill them instead of Iran killing them, but we want to save these protesters. That's what we're going to do. Actually, Iran was threatening us. They were going to attack us. Oh, actually, no, it's about a nuclear weapon. It's about a nuclear bomb. Oh, my days, bro. Oh, my days. All right, more. Here we go. Now we get Ossoff. Does a number on him, man. And Hegseth he crashes out, he panics, and Ossoff delivers a masterclass here. Here we go.
You're requesting roughly $68 billion for the department through the supplemental, correct?
67, yes.
And yesterday, your department stated publicly, quote, U.S. forces struck Iranian military command centers, maritime capabilities, missile and drone launch sites, and air defense systems to degrade Iran's ability to continue attacking commercial vessels. That was a press release from your department. Is that a broadly accurate characterization of ongoing operations?
That sounds broadly accurate, yes.
On day 14 of this conflict, Mr. Secretary, day 14, nearly 5 months ago, you stated that Iran's military had been, quote, destroyed and, quote, made combat ineffective. That was on day 14 of the war. Was that an accurate statement?
They didn't have a Navy any longer. It was completely sunk. Their missiles were buried underneath a lot of their underground facilities, and their defense industrial base has been almost completely destroyed. So as far as a military assessment of Iran's capabilities, it didn't mean by any stretch of the imagination absolute zero, but their capabilities
Mr. Secretary,
at the lowest level
you
they've been in
stated
a very
that
long time.
on day 14 of this conflict, in the second week of the conflict, you stated that Iran's military had been, quote, destroyed and, quote, made combat ineffective. Was that an accurate statement? Yes or no?
Iran's ability to challenge the United States of America at the level at which we're capable of.
That's not what I asked you, Mr. Secretary. You said...
Here comes, he can't help it. He's got a bullshit because Assad's got him fucking checkmated. He's got you checkmated like 2 minutes into this, dog. He's got you checkmated 2 minutes into it. This is like world record level checkmating, okay? This is like prime Mike Tyson in the ring with a kindergartner. This is embarrassing. And he can't, well, actually, what I meant when I said that, what happened was, me and Craig and them was down by the Safeway. And then when I talk about the military, what I mean by the military is not actually the whole military. It's like, oh my days, Jesus, this is humiliating.
That Iran's military had been, quote, destroyed and, quote, made combat ineffective. Was that an accurate statement? Yes or no?
Iran's ability to challenge the United States of America at the level at which we're capable of.
That's not what I asked you, Mr. Secretary. You said on day 14, Iran's military had been, quote, destroyed and, quote, made combat ineffective. Yes or no? Was that an accurate statement?
What the American military has done to the
question?
Iranian military is a historic military defeat,
answer the
and
question
they're
under
ineffective
oath?
in that context.
3 weeks later, you declared victory. That was now nearly 4 months ago. 3 weeks after you'd already said Iran's military was destroyed and combat ineffective, you said, quote, Operation Epic Fury was a historic and overwhelming victory. You said Iran's military had been rendered, quote, combat ineffective for years to come. And you stated we had, quote, achieved every single objective. Were those accurate statements?
It certainly was, on behalf of the men and women in uniform, a historic military victory over...
He's doing the hide behind the troops. Hide behind the troops. If you disagree with me, you actually hate the troops, Senator John Ossoff. How dare you? These guys, they're such babies. Postmodern conservatism might be the dumbest movement in human history. Because I would expect the Nazis... They're the horrific terrorists and war criminals and did every horrible thing under the sun. They also were logically consistent and didn't live in a fucking delusional fantasy world of their own making where you say one thing the next day, the opposite the next day, one thing the next day, the opposite the next day. No, they were actually consistent with the whole shit. This is like, we're going to do all the violence and the terrorism and the war crimes, but mix in with it conservative postmodernism, which is just, you come up with your own narrative and run with it as if that's the truth, and then change your mind the next day, and that's fine because you're allowed to change your mind and flip-flop on basic facts, and it's okay. What are we supposed to do with this?
Iran.
Had Iran's military been rendered, quote, combat ineffective for years to come? That was a statement that you made 4 months ago.
They had 160 naval vessels
you need
in
to
the Blue
answer
Water
the questions,
Navy,
Mr.
and they're gone.
Secretary.
Their Air Force is completely combat ineffective, and they don't have a defense industrial base. So describe to me a country that doesn't have an Air Force, a Navy, or a defense industrial base, and I will describe to you a country that does not have an effective military. It can lob missiles.
Mr. Secretary, you stated 4 months ago that Iran's military had been rendered, quote, combat ineffective for years to come. Has Iran's military been, for the last 4 months, combat ineffective?
It's been set back not just years, but likely decades.
You stated we had, quote,
build at the level it did before, and not even close. It doesn't mean it doesn't have capabilities.
Mr.
And let me just say, this is literally at the same time that they're absolutely Draxing them sclounched right now. They just bombed a massive radar hub of ours. They lit up a whole bunch of our bases. We now have, 18 people killed on our side of it. They're successfully fighting back here, and we're running out of munitions, and Trump is panicking. And so everything he said, the opposite is true in every way. Like, their intelligence is way better than we thought it was. They have way more weapons than we thought they did. They are acting more rationally than we thought they would. Like, all of that stuff put together. Like, they've been surgical with it. And as I told you the other day, the Iranians were preparing for this when Donald Trump was sneaking into Miss Teen USA dressing rooms and looking at the naked girls. The Iranians were preparing for this when Donald Trump was kicking out black people from his apartment buildings and getting sued by the feds over it. The Iranians were preparing for this when Donald Trump was saying, "You're fired," to fucking Carrot Top or whoever the fuck on his shitty show, The Apprentice.
Secretary, you stated we had, quote, achieved every single objective. Was that an accurate statement 4 months ago?
The main objective of this was to ensure that Iran never gets a nuclear weapon. Their main sites were obliterated. We're watching over them, and we're holding them that issue. If they don't give them up at the table, there's other ways we can take them away.
Early in the conflict
Iran will
on
never
day
have a
3,
nuclear
Mr.
weapon.
Secretary, early in the conflict, day 3, you said one of those core objectives was to, quote, destroy the missile threat. And as you restated on day 5, to, quote, obliterate Iran's missiles and drones. Those were clearly and repeatedly stated core objectives of the campaign, which 4 months ago you declared had been completed victoriously with every single objective achieved. Were those objectives achieved 4 months ago?
No one ever stated that every single missile was gone. Ultimately, combat ineffective means they're not able to dig them out of their UGFs and shoot
Had
at
the
us.
missile
It
threat
doesn't mean they
been
don't have
defeated 4
underground
months
facilities
ago?
where they put missiles in them and hold on to them because they're the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism. So we never expected they would stop having capabilities to shoot. The question is at scale against an opponent like the United States of America, which went toe-to-toe with them and Iran couldn't.
You stated on March 8th, day 9 of the war, on 60 Minutes, you assured the American people of Iranian surrender. Does that remain your prediction?
Ultimately, Iran will never have a nuclear weapon to threaten the United States of America. That has been the objective, and it remains so.
They're literally too stupid to mock. Have you noticed that? Because they don't even recognize their own contradictions, their own hypocrisy, their own flip-flops. It's like, it's like dealing with a child.
So just to review, you will not answer whether your statement made on the 14th day of the war that Iran's military had been, quote, destroyed and made combat ineffective was a truthful statement to the American people as you sit here and ask for tens of billions more for the conflict.
Senator's time has
Had a
expired.
historic and effective military campaign against the largest state sponsor of terrorism.
Won't answer the question.
Senator
Never get a nuclear weapon,
Peters
Senator.
is recognized.
I just love how he, like, Keg's breath thinks he nailed it. That's just too great. Okay. All right, here we go. We got some more. Let's keep getting it. This is Reed.
Completely aware that the Strait of Hormuz could be closed, and obviously sinking their ships has not affected their ability to effectively close the straits.
We had U.S. boats that surrendered to Iranian ships under the Biden administration. So their Navy was effective in expeditionary
we're talking
ways in the
about a
past.
war you started, not a situation in which oil was flowing freely. There was no conflict. We weren't losing personnel as a result of Iranian actions. So your fallback to the Biden administration is just a very, very obvious excuse for what I think is probably, as you described so often, gross negligence. You did not fully inform the president that you would be in a situation where the Strait of Hormuz could be effectively closed, oil prices could surge, and effectively the Iranians could maintain their ability to strike back as they are right now. They just killed some of our servicemen last weekend.
This battlefield and all the dynamics of it, of which the chairman and I are responsible for ensuring the president understands every branch and sequel of what could happen, and we did. So the fact that those contingencies all were part of the possibility, and we understood that, is all the more reason why President Trump deserves the kind of praise he should get for undertaking this effort, having the courage to ensure that crazy Islamists can't have a nuclear weapon to hold us at issue. And he's been willing to stay committed to that, regardless of the challenges.
Excuse me. So he should be praised. He should be praised for starting a war without authority, creating a situation in which the world economy is suffering tremendously. We have to have extra money for our farmers, and we have no outcome, at least no realistic outcome in sight yet. Let me switch.
How about this one? Kirsten Gillibrand. She goes after him as well. Let's listen.
Unpopular and unauthorized war abroad is a higher priority to this administration than their ability to feed their families and provide health care to their loved ones who are sick.
Well, Senator, you're talking about political trade-offs, and our job is to deliver for the United States military and the President of the United States. And we look at the cost of a nuclear Iran, and we want to prevent that for future generations. And that requires funding and supplementals and this budget and next generation capabilities. And that's why we're here today to request some of that to ensure we can ensure that Iran never gets a nuclear weapon.
So, by the way, just so you know, Trump said this thing would be over in 2 weeks, and it will cost like, what, a couple $1 billion, $10 billion maybe? Now they want $350 billion just for the war on top of $1.5 trillion for the entire budget. Disgusting. At the same time, they're cutting every single program that helps you.
Essentially saying you're asking for literally $1.5 trillion for a war that President Trump said he already won. You're asking for $1.5 trillion, unlimited money for bombs, but insufficient money for the American people, for their health care, their food, their housing, and our farmers, Secretary Rollins, who we have cut SNAP program. We are not funding the losses from emergencies that have happened in blue states, particularly when we had frost.
That's not true.
False, you're not funding it. But back to you, Secretary Hegseth.
And I would like to respond to the fertilizer and the gas.
Have your chance Secretary Hegseth.
There's no reason to be rude.
You are asking for unlimited money for bombs when people can't feed their families. And I don't know how this administration intends to defend those decisions to the American people.
And then finally, let me give you this here. CNN split screen comparison of what Hegseth was saying months ago on the Iran war and what he said today. Listen to this.
Epic fury decimated Iran's military and rendered it combat ineffective for years to come. Iran's navy is at the bottom of the sea. They would try to impose their will on the waterways in ways that the world would not like. Call it a toll, call it a fee, call it an exchange, call it control. They would do something that they would try to hold it at issue.
Then you've got shrinking American munition stockpiles. Last month, Hegseth was dismissing concerns that it was even an issue. Today, it was a reason the military needs an urgent cash infusion.
There is a crisis with those stockpiles right now in private industry.
That is a manufactured story that the media wants to peddle. And ultimately, our stockpiles are great, and they'll only get stronger. We face critical shortfalls that threaten our ability to also simply pay our service members, rapidly replenish equipment and munitions, and sustain vital operations without disruption.
But there is one question where Hegseth never seems to waver. And it's this one. Who's to blame for all of this?
The disaster of what the Biden administration budgets gave us. It was not a priority to fund the Department of Defense under Joe Biden. It's neglected the Biden administration. I mean, the Biden administration ignored hypersonics. I don't know what Lloyd Austin did for 4 years. Again, that goes back to the Biden administration of divest to invest.
Familiar names, titles missing, over and over. But not the one currently in the Oval Office who decided to engage in this war.
There's no other takeaway except Republicans are fucking baboons, right? Like, this is baboon shit. They're so incompetent. It really is true. The idea of, like, Democrats are the adults in the room, it's sort of cliche, but, like, it really is true that even though there's areas of disagreement that I have, especially with your standard centrist Democrats, like, these people are just completely and utterly unfit. They can't manage anything. You know, I would never leave my kids alone with any of these fucking idiots. You know what I'm saying? Like, they are, they're just unfit. They're just unfit. I mean, this guy was like a D-tier fucking Fox host, like a weekend Fox host who literally didn't believe in germ theory, and now he's the Secretary of Defense? Like, what are we talking about? So here we go. We're dealing with the fucking hell that they created, and the Secretary of War Crimes was absolutely crashing out and getting pummeled into the ground. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to. All right, guys. So the other day, of course, we had another ICE murder. They seem to be happening on a regular basis now. And this is because they just came back out. The Trump regime came back out and said, let's do 2,000 arrests a day again. Huh? In order to get to that number, of course, you got to harass innocent people. No criminal record, here legally, all that stuff, because they care more about quantity than quality of who they're going after. Okay, so turns out the guy who murdered the innocent person in Maine, he is a complete and utter psychopath and proven criminal. Okay, but however bad you think it is fucking worse. This guy tried to kill himself twice. This guy, his ex-wives tell us, is a domestic abuser. He abused his kids. He has severe psychological issues. And when one of his ex-wives was told by him that he just got a new job at ICE, the wife literally didn't believe it because she thought there's no way they would give that man a badge and a gun. Literally none. She thought it was a joke. So let me show you this news piece on it, and then I'll give you some more information. Here we go.
We want to warn you that some viewers may find parts of the story we're about to share with you disturbing. We have been learning more about the ICE agent involved in the death of Johann Sebastian Guerrero Monday morning. News Center Maine's Christian Harsa joins us with new details that are just coming in. Hi, Christian.
Hi, Amanda. We just had this come into our newsroom a short time ago. According to a current official at the Department of Homeland Security, a former official and a source familiar with the investigation, David Brulette is the ICE agent who shot and killed Johann Sebastian Duran Guerrero. We've been reviewing hundreds of documents about David Brulette, showing he is a veteran of the Army and Maine Army National Guard. He also worked as a correctional officer in the Maine Department of Corrections before voluntarily resigning. And in 2017, he started a job as a law enforcement officer at the Togus VA Hospital in Augusta. That job with the VA meant he did not have to go through in-person training, according to a source familiar with ICE policies. There are also 624 pages of Maine court documents, many listing allegations of assault from his second wife. My conversation with Brulette's first wife involved abuse, violence, and a man she believes should be in prison.
When I met David, I thought that was going to be the person that I was going to grow old with. He was the sweetest, most funniest boy.
David Brulette didn't stay that sweet, funny boy.
I went through a lot of physical, emotional, mental abuse from him.
Including when David and Ashley Brulette had an argument while she was boiling a pot of water on the stove for dinner while she was holding her 5-month-old daughter.
And he just took that pot right off the stove. It had just started to boil, so I mean, it was still pretty hot. And he threw it at me while I was holding her.
She says that was the first time she called the police, but she walked back her story when they arrived.
He was doing all these horrible things to me, yes, but in a sense, he was still kind of my security blanket because he was the only person that I had.
They married in 2007, and by 2009, they had divorced. 3 years later, she moved to Michigan.
We've been divorced for 17 years now, and he still calls and threatens me.
The most recent call before this week was on November 28th, 2025.
Every single female in your bloodline is nothing but a disgusting fat. And all of you should have your throat cut. Yeah, you should.
By the way, they're hiring people like this on purpose. That's the terrifying reality. It's not that, oh, they overlooked this. No, they looked at that and said, our kind of guy. Why? Because Trump wants a Gestapo paramilitary to do his dirty work for him. Do you understand that? That's why they're trying to do these mass payoffs to the January 6th terrorists. That's why. If you are a criminal on behalf of our pedophile president, they love you. They adore you. They'll promote you. They'll give you a shitload of money, a shitload of power and influence. Do you understand that yet? This is who Gregory Bavino wanted. This is who Stephen Miller wants. This is who Hamhead Homan wants. Do you get that? Like they're hiring these criminals on purpose because they want to do crimes for the regime. They want to assault immigrants. They want to ruin their lives. They want to shove them in concentration camps. They want to attack liberals. That's what this is.
Blocked him after that until she heard the news of Monday's ICE shooting. She called him and he later called her back.
He goes, it is true. I was involved. It was a justified shooting. He said, it's going to come down to my character and I need you to speak highly of me and the kind of person that I am. And I said, I'm not going to lie for you. I'm not going to lie and say you're a good person when I don't think you are.
Ashley said David was calm, which she found creepy.
Because for somebody who just experienced such a horrific thing and had to do such a horrific thing, there was no remorse in his voice, no upsetness.
The news was not entirely shocking.
This is now going to become a huge reality check for a lot of people about what I had been trying to say for so many years. But I wasn't shocked that he had hurt somebody.
And by the way, he definitely murdered him because they didn't even try to make the case that he feared for his safety. He feared for his life. They said, oh, they fear for public safety. In other words, they assume somebody's got a video somewhere. The video is going to come out and it's going to show that it was completely and utterly unjustified. This guy is also on camera threatening to shoot somebody else not that long ago. Not reprimanded at all, kept his badge, kept his gun, kept harassing people, and he ended up killing somebody, right? Who would have thought? A guy with a literal criminal history that has severe mental disorders, who assaulted his wife and his kids and said all your throats should be slit, that guy is a criminal and fucked up and wants to do violence. Turns out the violent guy wants to do violence.
He believes that is why he joined ICE last fall.
Oh.
To hurt people. I believe that 100%.
Oh. He joined ICE to hurt people. By the way, she's so brave for coming out and saying this stuff because this guy, he's dangerous. He's fucking dangerous. How about this one? This man was a father of two and a husband visiting the USA from Mexico on a valid tourist visa. ICE saw him at a gas station, chased him onto the road. He was hit by a truck and died. Yet again, complete lack of respect for human life by ICE and Trump. He was here on a valid tourist visa and he was terrified knowing what ICE is capable of. Ran and was killed. How about this one? Here's Hamhead Homan, who's the head of ICE, asked about, hey, what about this vetting process? How did this fucking violent criminal get this position? Listen to what he says.
Sir, in Maine, is there any more clarity on how he got his job, considering the vetting concerns that his wife has raised? Are there potential changes coming to the vetting process of ICE agents?
That's a question for ICE.
Bitch, you are ICE. Bitch, you run the shit. The reality is they want him because he's violent, okay? ICE violently detains Gardner, then assaults his brother and daughter. Agent punches young girl 2 times in her head, knocking her backwards. Father is slammed down on concrete, even though not resisting. At one point, agent shoots pepper spray at close range. Brother tries to run away, but is chased and tackled from behind. All 3 family members were taken handcuffed in the back of unmarked cars. Video was recorded by a fixed security camera in San Bernardino, California. Look at this. Jesus Christ, they're just assaulting people. Just so you know, this is white nationalists, Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, Three Percenters, Klansmen, neo-Nazis. Like, that's who actually is ICE, you know? They don't know what they're doing. There's no training. There's no nothing. Just assault these people, ruin their lives, arrest them, don't let them see a lawyer, no fucking warrant, all that stuff. And Stephen Miller fucking giggles with his little micro penis as this happens. ICE crashed their vehicle into passenger side of a work van. Man rushed to hospital with several injuries or severe injuries. Here we go. A family searches for Guatemalan immigrant after ICE operation sends him to hospital.
He started crying, saying his face hurt a lot. They had knocked out his teeth. He was having trouble breathing.
This is how 25-year-old Marco Antonio Roblero ended up after an encounter with immigration agents in Doralville.
That he will get justice for you. I know he will. We did not know what to tell him in those moments. God will be with you wherever you go.
48 hours later, his family members still have not been able to find his whereabouts.
He said he was already in an ICE detention center. He did not know where he was, but he was 3 hours away from here.
We searched immigration records, but we found no information on Marco Antonio's.
We have tried to look for him, but we have not found anything.
The incident occurred on Saturday, July 18th, around 8 in the morning at a BP gas station.
3 were in the landscaping truck. His dad called him on the phone. My dad had been there about 2 minutes before.
According to his cousin's testimony, Marco Antonio received a call alerting him to the agent's presence and tried to warn the companions he was traveling with.
They were in front and the other one arrived and hit the passenger seat door.
The van he was traveling in was struck.
When he fell, they got on top of him and hit his face. They also electrocuted him, but they did not shoot anything at you.
No.
Electricity.
His cousins arrived at the scene of the incident first and then went to the medical center.
Jesus Christ, man. ICE detained dad during traffic stop. Leave teen son abandoned behind on side of the highway. Agents came out with guns drawn, son said. They pulled up on us really fast. 14-year-old boy had to send phone's location just so his mom could find him. Holy shit.
Go and step out of the vehicle. My dad was telling me to record, but I was shook. I didn't know what to do.
This was one of dozens of arrests in the Puget Sound region that last week of June as the Department of Homeland Security announced a new quota for ICE, 2,000 arrests daily nationwide. The Packers were on their way to work on I-5 near Little Rock.
One pulled up behind us, and the other one pulled up, going in front of us really fast. And then they came out with guns drawn, yelling and everything.
And I told him to send me his location.
At the scene, Ezekiel's mom, Cassandra, says she asked agents why they were taking Ezekiel Sr.
He said, well, he has a warrant for his arrest for being in the country illegally. So they never showed me a warrant.
The 37-year-old contractor is now detained at the Northwest ICE Processing Center in Tacoma. Cassandra says given ICE has killed 2 people in the last week, she's finding reasons to be grateful even in this situation.
Every time I speak to my husband, the day that he was detained, and every opportunity I get, I tell him, I'm just so lucky they took your body physically away from us, but they did not take your life.
As for her kids, she says all 4 of them are struggling, even though they're all U.S. citizens.
Nothing's going to happen to us, but we're just living in a constant state of fear after this happened. 1, being alone by myself with all the kids. 2, are they just picking people up based off their looks, And all of my kids are dark-haired, tan skin, so it's just scary right now.
This is fascism, man. This is fascism. I would say what should happen to them, but I'd be banned on YouTube, so I'll keep my mouth shut. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to. So the more time goes by, the more the horrors of the genocide in Gaza are exposed. And we have some new reporting here from the New Yorker that really highlights just how atrocious this is. So take a look at this. This is a quote from the piece. Netanyahu agreed to let in only a small amount of supplies, which would have to come through Rafah. He also asked that this minor concession remain secret. He feared a domestic backlash for not starving Gaza's women, children, and other civilians. So this is Netanyahu saying, oh, the Israeli public is even more bloodthirsty and psychopathic than me, and so they want me to send in no medicine, no food at all. And he was, conceding to the U.S., well, I guess I'll send in a little. We'll split the difference. I'll send in a little bit. Okay, let me read you some more. Before he landed, he felt sure that the Israelis would accede to allowing trucks full of basic goods to enter the Strip. In the parlance of diplomacy, that agreement was pre-baked. But when Blinken visited Netanyahu, this is during Biden's term, the prime minister balked. Netanyahu told Blinken that he would negotiate the matter with Biden when he arrived in 2 days. Blinken replied that the president wouldn't board a plane without a humanitarian agreement in place. It was lunchtime, and Blinken retreated to the acting ambassador's home in Jerusalem, hoping that Netanyahu would reconsider in his absence. At 6 p.m., Blinken met Netanyahu at the Kiryat, but the hours apart had done nothing to resolve the differences. Netanyahu kept arguing that his hands were tied. Quote, "I have got people in the cabinet who don't want an aspirin to get into Gaza because of what's happened. Ministers wanted to inflict collective punishment. That's not me," he added, "but that's people in my coalition." And then, look at this. Netanyahu told Blinken to his face that he was blocking humanitarian aid as a form of collective punishment. That alone should have automatically triggered U.S. laws prohibiting arms transfers. In fact, if we abided by the law as written, that would have happened. But we didn't. We did the opposite. We did the opposite of abiding by the law. We broke the law to keep sending them money and keep sending them weapons. We were in contravention of our own law, sending them money and weapons. Disturbing. This is on top of 90% of the buildings in Gaza being destroyed, on top of all sorts of atrocities, bombing schools, bombing hospitals, bombing UN buildings. You guys know the deal. We've been through it 1,000 times, and we'll probably be through it 1,000 more because we witnessed a Holocaust in real time. Okay? So, with this being the case, everybody says, well, Netanyahu's got to be arrested. There's an international criminal court arrest warrant out for him. He committed the crime of genocide. He's a war criminal. It's not even a particularly difficult case. It looks like it's pretty straightforward. But Trump is crashing out because ZOHRAN has been openly talking about, look, we're going to look at it. If there's any way we can legally arrest Netanyahu, we're going to arrest Netanyahu if he tries to come to New York for the UN. That's what he's been saying. So Trump takes to Lie Social and he says, Benjamin Netanyahu will not be arrested in any way, shape, or form. While in the United States of America, he is fighting against the Islamic Republic of Iran, which recently killed 52,000 innocent protesters. Completely made up number. The actual number is like 7,000. And has spent the last 47 years killing American soldiers and others. The only ones that should be arrested are the people that led Iran into this unprecedented spiral of death and destruction. Something that should have been dealt with years ago by previous presidents. So he's saying, you better not fucking arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. You better not fucking arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. By the way, literally every reply is stuff like this. Look at this. So everybody's going, you're Netanyahu's bitch. You have the mayor of New York talking about upholding international law and arresting Netanyahu, and you got Trump going, don't arrest him. He gives me a lot of money. Him and Miriam Adelson, the Israel lobby, they've given me hundreds of millions of dollars. They also have me blackmailed because Jeffrey Epstein has tapes and videos of me doing unspeakable things to kids. This is the subtext of what's going on here. But Trump is crashing out. Don't you dare arrest Netanyahu. How dare you? Okay, so ZOHRAN comes out and he gives a speech and he says the following.
Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, the architect of a horrific genocide against the Palestinian people. He is responsible for the killing of more than 73,000 people, for the maiming of tens of thousands of children as those who survive undergo amputation without anesthesia, for the targeting of neonatal hospitals and maternity care centers, denying newborns even the chance to live, for the countless people he starved as he blocked food and humanitarian aid from reaching them, for the gunning down of hundreds of aid workers and journalists. And just last month, the UN confirmed that Palestinian children continue to be deliberately targeted and killed by Israeli armed forces, more than 8 months after the so-called ceasefire. The list goes on and on, all as we, as Americans, pay for the bombs that do the killing. There is a reason the International Criminal Court issued a warrant for his arrest. As human beings, we have spent generations building a shared understanding that there are crimes so grave, they offend all of humanity. Anyone, with their eyes, with their heart, with their conscience, should recognize the devastation he has wrought and understand that he belongs before a court of law. As I've said, I agree with the ICC that Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested and tried for his crimes, as I do for anyone else charged by the ICC. My administration has reviewed every avenue available under applicable law to determine whether New York City could execute the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant if Benjamin Netanyahu came here. It is clear that we do not have the independent legal authority to enforce this warrant. The federal government, however, does, and I call on them to join the ICC and execute this warrant. And I want to be equally clear. Benjamin Netanyahu is not welcome in New York City, nor is any other war criminal at large. While we cannot end the genocide on our own, we can decide whether our silence will become another weapon, and we can examine every tool we have to defend the humanity and dignity of all people. That is my commitment to you.
I mean, I think you should go rogue and do it. I think you should go rogue and do it anyway. There's definitely there's definitely a bunch of Muslim NYPD officers who will volunteer for that fucking job. I think they should do it. And look, don't get it twisted. I don't think it's going to be something as simple as like New York City arrests him, and then they can secretly hand him off in the middle of the night to the International Criminal Court. He gets locked up in The Hague, and that's that. No, obviously, as soon as he's arrested, Trump will lose his fucking mind. He'll threaten to cut off all the federal money to New York City. They'll try to arrest ZOHRAN. It'll spark a fucking whole thing. But on some YOLO shit, I low-key think he should do it. And then, if he's effectively strong-armed into releasing him soon thereafter, well, at least you fucked up Benjamin Netanyahu's day. At least you made him shit bricks. At least you put the fear of God into him for fucking 3 hours or whatever it ends up being. You understand what I'm saying? So I kind of think you should go YOLO and do it. But I will say this, at the very least, and this thing blew the fuck up, 1.1 million likes, 245,000 retweets, 53.2 million views. It's very clear ZOHRAN wants to do it. And it's very clear when he says, yeah, we look to see if we can legally get away with this in any way. I actually believe him when he says that. You know what I'm saying? But this first reply, I feel like, says it all. And shout out to Nerdeen Kiswani, because this I'll 100% co-sign to. I think you should go YOLO and arrest him. But if he feels like he can't, Mamdani just spent several minutes detailing Netanyahu's alleged war crimes before saying he has no authority to arrest him and leaves the matter to the federal government. Fine, then use every power the mayor does have. Don't roll out the red carpet for a wanted war criminal. Don't use the NYPD to insulate him from public outrage. Don't suppress the New Yorkers who take to the streets demanding accountability. If Netanyahu is truly not welcome in New York City, that principle should be reflected in how the city treats his visit, not just in rhetoric. So I'd even go a step further. So if you're not going to go YOLO and just arrest him, then I feel like you should tell them, oh yeah, you'll get whatever accommodations you need. And then when they show up, and they want a motorcade with the NYPD involved, they're not there. You say, oh, sorry. Oh, oops, my bad. I forgot. You're on your own. Sorry, deal with it. Right? When you have, 4,000 people out in the streets, I'm just spitballing here, I have no idea how many will be out there who are, getting close to him, let's say. Sorry, you don't have any NYPD protection. You're on your own, son. Right? If the federal government is intent on protecting a war criminal wanted by the International Criminal Court, well, then that's on the federal government to do whatever the fuck in order to get their fucking war criminal out of here safely. You understand what I'm saying? So, there's other things I could say here, but again, if I were to say them, this channel I don't think would last long on YouTube. I think I'd be banned pretty quickly. But there's some people who potentially are thinking about taking matters into their own hands, I'm sure. When you have a city of millions of people and everybody just watched a live stream genocide in 4K, seeing just the most atrocious crimes we've ever seen in our lives, there might be, it's one of those things where it's Netanyahu put a target on himself with his actions. And that's your bed, dog. You got to sleep in that. The chickens might come home to roost. And so, at the very least, these people, everywhere they go for the rest of their lives, they need to be fearful. They need to be terrified. They need to think I'm not safe. I'm not comfortable. And because they shouldn't be, because of what they did. They need to fear that fucking everywhere they go, that everybody fucking hates them and they're not welcome there. So, I don't know. We'll see. But this was obviously a big deal. And ZOHRAN had been talking about, look, I want to arrest Netanyahu, and if I could find a legal way to do it, I'm going to do that shit. And that's what led to Trump crashing out. Nobody's going to arrest him. Nobody's going to arrest my precious special little boy, who I love so much, who definitely doesn't have videos of me fucking 13-year-olds. Trump crashes out. Then Netanyahu's like, look, I want to, but doesn't look like I can. But all right, well, hit us with something, dog. Hit us with something. You got to at least make that motherfucker's day bad, right? That's what I'd say at the very least. And then also I wanted to give you this. This surprised a lot of people, but ZOHRAN just did something his own critics swore socialists would never do. Cut fines, fees, permits, and red tape for small businesses. More than 50 reforms will make it easier for restaurants, bodegas, barbershops, retailers, and drivers to operate, including killing the absurd second permit restaurants need just to serve ice cream. Less bureaucracy, lower costs, more time running the business. So the reason why this is important is because one of the things that's used to smear democratic socialists and people who are on the left is you guys just like the government full stop, right? So you want to have a big bureaucracy. You want to have a bunch of red tape. You want to have permits for fucking everything. You don't believe in, people being free. That's one of the arguments that's used. But, that's always been a fucking straw man. Like, it's democratic socialists. Well, yeah, we might be in favor of Medicare for all, which is bigger government because everybody gets health care through the government, but we've never been in favor of mass surveillance. So in that way, we're in favor of smaller government. We're against the Patriot Act. We're against the military-industrial complex. That's smaller government. So it was always like a dumb way of trying to critique democratic socialists, because I don't think it's true. But here's ZOHRAN really driving that point home, that like, not only is he an ideologue in the sense that he's a democratic socialist, but also he's rational and intelligent and can look through things and go on a case-by-case basis and say, well, this is a stupid regulation. Let's get rid of the stupid regulations. Let's keep the intelligent regulations and get rid of the stupid regulations. So here we go.
Today, my friends, we are lifting the freeze that too many New Yorkers must contend with as we launch Open for small businesses. Open, which stands for Overhauling Procedures and Expanding Navigation, is a package of more than 50 reforms that cut red tape, eliminate redundant fees, and streamline the permitting process. In a win for every ice cream lover across New York City, we will work with the state to do away with the frozen dessert permit that requires restaurants to seek out a superfluous second permit for what they're already doing, serving food. No more treat exploitation, as we say. Right now, barbershops need 3 licenses to cut hair. 1 to be a barber, 1 to own the shop, and 1 from the city on top of both. The state of affairs is frankly anti-fade, and we will not stand for it, which is why we will work with the state to streamline these licenses as well. And to the bingo enthusiasts out there, for too long, the potential earnings of a hot street at bingo have been capped by arcane rules that no longer reflect how the game is actually being played. With Open, DCWP will remove unnecessary regulations, including prize limits. These are just a few of the improvements we are proud to announce today as we make it clear we are in the pocket of Big Abuela.
This is what it is, bro. He's just like, he hit the big make everything better button again. What people are learning is, wait a second. What if democratic socialists, on top of actually trying to help you and make your life better, they're also the most practical and pragmatic when it comes to using their power? Like, they're willing to entertain solutions outside of what is typically viewed as their lane. I mean, that says a lot. So the same guy who cracked down on shitty landlords and deep cleaned the subway and got Hochul on board for universal childcare and is freezing the rent and filled a record number of potholes and is taxing the rich, now he's also making life easier for small businesses. So this is why his approval rating went up, bro. It's as simple as that.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
All right, y'all, so we got to talk about this. This is wild. This is wild, bro. Trump is targeting HASAN PIKER, DSA, Democracy Now!, a whole bunch of people who are left of center, and he's putting them on a new terror blacklist. So first, let me show you this. The Department of State says, Cuba's assault on the United States was never at root a quarrel over economic policy or sovereignty or even ownership of a particular territory. It was a revolution against Western civilization itself. Spare me. All right, this is incredible, but Daniel DePetra says the following. This report actually states, in all seriousness, that Cuba's main goal is to conquer the United States. It's about as dumb as it gets. Don't be fooled. This is the State Department trying to build a foundational case for U.S. military action should Trump decide to do it. That's fucking terrifying. They're actually arguing with a straight face. We need this terror blacklist that includes HASAN PIKER and Amy Goodman because Cuba's going to conquer us or try to conquer. I'm sorry, even MAGA can't believe this. Even Republicans can't believe this. Are they the ones starving us or are we the ones starving them? Are they the one embargoing us or are we the one embargoing them? What are we talking about? Like the lies, there's like lie inflation happening under the Trump regime where they get bigger, bolder, more psychotic, more crazy, more unbelievable, and like somehow just keep skating by as if this shit is normal. This shit is so far from normal, dog. This shit is so far from normal. Nobody believes Cuba is a threat to the United States of America. It's like a dinky little island with a population that's like, what, the same population as one of our cities? Like, what are you talking about? All right, more. Marco Rubio says, for more than 6 decades, the Cuban regime has been the leading sponsor of radical leftism and third worldism in the United States. The State Department is exposing the full history of Cuban espionage and subversion in our country. The American people deserve to know. David Adler says, this document is a bone-chilling signal that the new McCarthy era has already begun. But it is all the more bone-chilling to see that the entire report was 100% written by Claude. We are asked to prepare for a lethal LLM-powered Red Scare. What a dreadful time to be alive. So here's Ken Klippenstein. He says, after political terrorism summit, U.S. names 43 Americans plus groups. Rubio report on Cuban subversion names ZOHRAN Mamdani, the mayor of New York City, Amy Goodman of Democracy Now!, HASAN PIKER, and organizations like DSA and the Amazon Labor Union. This is new McCarthyism. This is a new Red Scare. And they're saying you're a terrorist if you are these people or affiliated with these people. And the whole point is to snuff out actual resistance to the Trump regime. The whole point is to snuff out everybody who dissents and everybody who stands up for our dissent against our descent into fascism and oligarchy and kakistocracy and mobocracy. Okay, this is ridiculous. Here's what he says. A new State Department report on Cuba's campaign of subversion against the United States is a virtual government blacklist against left-wing Americans and groups. Linked to last week's Rubio-led summit on political terrorism, the report is unusually candid about the government's targets. Many of the most significant upheavals in recent American political history, from the George Floyd riots to the rise of Antifa to the explosion of pro-terrorist activism on American college campuses. Jesus Christ, that's what they say. Anti-genocide protesters are pro-terrorist, they say. Can be linked in some way, shape, or form to Cuban influence, the report says. As for who these supposed agents of Cuban influence are, the report is remarkably explicit. It names people like Ben Cohen of Ben and Jerry's Ice Cream. What? Mayor ZOHRAN Mamdani and Karen Bass? She's like a centrist Democrat. Media figures like Amy Goodman and HASAN PIKER, and organizations like DSA and the Amazon Labor Union. The implication is clear. Secretary of State Marco Rubio thinks there should be a modern-day blacklist of the political left in America. In fact, the report explicitly mentions the blacklist McCarthy-era investigations and prosecutions of the 1950s and their effectiveness at dismembering the Communist Party USA. Oh my days. The 100-page report titled Cuba, the capital of the 21st century communism, was released this morning. An entire section of the report, numbering over 3 pages long, is dedicated to the Democratic Socialists of America. The Democratic Socialists of America serves as a particularly potent illustration of the ideological victory of Cuba's effort to position itself as the spiritual capital of third worldist radicalism, the report says. This represents a significant advance for the Cuban influence operation. Havana no longer needs to rely solely on intelligence penetration or Cuban asset cultivation to exert influence over the United States. This is so fucking gross, because the argument here is that obviously it's a psyop, and obviously we've been infiltrated and subverted if people, logic their way into left-wing politics. Like, no, you disgusting closet case bitch. Every sane, reasonable, rational, thinking American is currently a left-winger or a liberal at the very least. Okay, because they look at what the disgusting fascist Trump regime is doing. They look at the ICE concentration camps. They look at the Epstein files not being released and no Epstein pedophiles being arrested. They look at the illegal war against Iran. They look at the arming and funding of a genocide in Gaza. They look at war crime after war crime, atrocity after atrocity, all the fucking corruption and the self-dealing and the vanity projects. They look at all that and they realize, oh shit, we've been lied to about everything. Maybe it's the right-wingers who are fucking psycho. Maybe it's not the left-wingers. Maybe everybody out there saying, hands off Cuba, they say that because they don't want Cuba to become the next Gaza. They say that because they don't want innocent people to be fucking starving and have no oil, which is exactly what the Trump regime is doing to them right now. It's such a way of saying, it's cheating to disagree with me. Like, that's what they're doing. They're saying, it's cheating to disagree with me. It doesn't count if you disagree with me because obviously you're co-opted. And I'm sorry, that's just not true. Everybody who's defending Cuba is defending it on its merits that it's being illegally assaulted by the U.S. fucking pedophile terror regime. Like, give me a fucking break. Jesus Christ. Like, they're literally trying to criminalize like 50% of the country. They want all dissent to be criminalized. They want anybody who stands up to MAGA to be fucking muzzled and snuffed out and censored. And then at the same time, they have the nerve to say, we're the people who believe in freedom. My fucking ass cheeks, you believe in freedom. You want this country to be locked the fuck down. You want it to be a police state run by fucking pedophiles and rapists and terrorists and fascists and criminals. Jesus Christ. Though the report concedes that the DSA was not shaped by the direct and tangible influence of the Cuban government. Oh, wow, what a fucking admission. Oh, by the way, the whole point of this report, total bullshit. Complete horseshit. We made it up. Makes no sense. But anyway, let's continue to make the case as we just admitted we were wrong. And that it has organic ideological commitments. It insists that none of that is to say that the group has no ties to the Cuban regime and its influence network. Instead, the report points to the group's delegations to Cuba as evidence of Cuban influence. Oh, my word. So if your government is starving people to death and blocking them from having power, and you show solidarity with those people, you're obviously co-opted and you're an op for that government. Or you're a person with a fucking conscience. Oh, my days. For more than 6 decades, the Cuban regime has been the leading sponsor of radical leftism and third worldism in the United States. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said in a post on Twitter linking to the report, whatever you think of DSA, it is hardly fringe. It claims as members prominent politicians like Zohran Mamdani and helped to nominate dozens of politicians like him in office in recent years. Senator Bernie Sanders identifies as a democratic socialist, having him popularize the term, as do Representatives AOC and Rashida Tlaib, who are card-carrying members, as well as Mamdani. The Cuba report follows last week's Rubio-led International Summit on Political Terrorism. That summit, as I reported, introduced the new term far-left terrorism, abbreviated FLT, a term it never really defined. A White House press release summarizing the event said that far-left extremism will be treated with the same seriousness and ferocity that the world has long reserved for jihadist terrorism. Jihadist terrorism. Death count 0 for FLT. They don't give a fuck, because it's not about that. It's about snuffing out disagreement. Speaking at the summit, Rubio vowed that further new terrorist designations for left-wing groups would be coming soon. By the way, man, understand, this is what they're using to go after the SPLC, Southern Poverty Law Center. This is what they're using to go after Act Blue, which is just the payment processor for Democratic campaigns. They want to make it illegal to be even just a liberal, okay? That's why, let me say this, that's why it was very disheartening to see liberal commentators like David Pakman, for example, did a whole segment going after Hasan Piker for a speech he gave to the College Democrats of America, okay? And he's doing it at the same time that the fascist MAGA regime is specifically targeting Hasan Piker and Democracy Now! And Amy Goodman and Democratic Socialists of America. And he does this big grandstanding virtue signaling speech. We're not like them. They're extreme. They're crazy. They're lunatics. They're out there. Thank you for feeding the fucking propaganda that will be used by Donald Trump and will be used by Marco Rubio to try to lock up leftists. You think they see a fucking difference between you and Hasan Piker? I got news for you, David. You'll be right there in the motherfucking gulag right alongside Hasan Piker. Are you kidding me? You're going to, in a moment where fascism is sweeping through this country, we have ICE concentration camps. We have anti-ICE people being shot in the face. This is what you're focusing on? As Trump hasn't arrested a single Epstein pedophile, this is what you're focusing on, left punching? As Trump is on day number 11 of carpet bombing Iranian civilians, this is what you're focused on? You're going to finger wag at Hasan Piker for what he wore at a speech? Meanwhile, it was literally just rage bait for the right, and apparently these people are too idiotic to fucking understand it. But that's a problem, isn't it? It's a problem in this moment where the left is directly being targeted under NSPM 7 as like, hey, we're going to make dissent illegal. We're not going to allow these groups to exist. We're going to consider them terrorists. We're going to arrest them. We're going to take away their rights. We're going to ruin their life. And then you have some liberals who are like, yeah, totally, those guys are pieces of shit. Fuck them. I'm not like them. Oh shit, what's that? You're throwing me in the gulag too? Goddamn. Well, I didn't expect that to happen. Well, you were warned. You were warned. We're warning you. We've been warning you. So wakey, wakey. I don't know, at a time when we're fighting 7 different illegal wars at once and shoving people in fucking concentration camps, and this country is being just absolutely looted and pillaged by the Epstein class, and they're getting away with crime after crime, maybe it's not a good idea to punch left. Just a thought. Just a fucking thought. Maybe punch right at the people who are actually destroying the fucking country. Oh my days, man. Jeremy Lewin, the Undersecretary of State for Foreign Assistance, linked last week's political terrorism summit to today's Cuba report, saying on X, for 7 decades, the Cuban regime has been behind both the ideological underpinnings of third worldism and subversive organizing structures of the new radical left political terrorists that Secretary Rubio called out with clarity last week. But virtually all the summit could do to substantiate this supposed scourge of political terrorism was to focus on groups that are almost comically dated, like the 70s era Symbionese Liberation Army or the Weather Underground. The summit was vague about what are the equivalent groups today. Today's Cuba report, however, names names. Jesus Christ. Okay. So then they go through a bunch of these. Amazon Labor Union, Antifa, Jesus Christ, Asada's Daughters, Karen Bass, hilarious, Medea Benjamin, who literally just spends her time on Capitol Hill protesting war criminals and calling them pieces of shit to their face. She's doing the fucking Lord's work. Black Lives Matter, Code Pink, Ben Cohen, the Ben & Jerry's ice cream guy. I mean, what the fuck are we talking about? DSA. George Floyd? What? Why would George Floyd? He's not even alive. What the fuck is this? I'll tell you what it is. It's AI-generated slop in order to do new McCarthyism and new Red Scare and fucking criminalize dissent. That's what it is. Absolutely fucking disgusting. Somehow I didn't make the list. Somehow Ryan Grimm, who went on the trip to Cuba, didn't make the list. Maxine Waters is on the list. She's a Democratic congressperson who's like 117 years old. What the fuck are they talking about? Anyway, just disgusting, disturbing. We cannot get these disgusting fascists out of power soon enough. They are wretched, vile, depraved, the worst of the worst. They're completely un-American. They hate everything that's good about this country. They love everything that's horrible about this country. And they want to usher in an authoritarian police state hellscape, and they're in the process of doing it right now.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
So Bill Maher has now absolutely castrated himself for Donald Trump. It's an embarrassing thing to see. So for those of you who don't know, Bill Maher was supposed to get the Mark Twain Award, okay, for being like a great political satirist. And it was announced he was going to get it. Then it was announced he actually wasn't getting it. Now, why was he not getting it? Because it was happening at the Kennedy Center. If you remember, Trump put his name on the Kennedy Center, it became the Trump Kennedy Center. He now runs the Kennedy Center. Like, he makes the decisions. And so he decided, fuck Bill Maher, he's not going to get this fucking award. He comes after me all the time. And so then we learn, oh, Trump reverses and says, well, actually, he is going to get the Mark Twain Award. Gee, I wonder what happened there. I wonder if Maher talked to Trump and said, hey, dog, listen, you give me that award ski, I'll go a little lighter on you ski. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was some sort of deal. I have no doubt about it, there was some sort of deal. Or else, when they took the award away from him, he would have been like, yeah, fuck you, I don't need that fucking award. I'm going to keep calling out the fascist regime. He didn't do that. What did he do? He went out there and immediately started saying opposite type shit, bro. He immediately, oh, Trump's not that bad. I met him. In person, he's okay. It turns out a lot of people do have Trump derangement syndrome. You know, the woke left really is a problem. So anyway, what happens is, like I said, Trump reverses, gives him the award. Lord only knows the exact price that Maher paid for that. We know he sold his soul and has no dignity or integrity left. Well, listen to how disgusting this is. You have the award ceremony at the Kennedy Center, which courts are saying you have to just call it the Kennedy Center, that Trump had to pull his name down because Trump illegally put his name on it. But anyway, and what happens from here is amazing. Here's one of the comedians who was there, Whitney Cummings, and you're about to hear how she was censored and was not allowed to joke about Donald Trump at this event. The free speech people on the right all of a sudden, oh, is there a joke about Trump? Well, censor it, and none of us are going to say Dickie McGee's acts. We'll all keep our mouths shut because, you know, we don't want to hurt the king's feelings. Listen to this. Here we go.
But this time it's over her jokes getting deleted by Netflix. If you haven't heard because you've actually got a life, Bill Maher just won the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. This is the same award that's been given to Dave Chappelle, Jon Stewart, Eddie Murphy, Adam Sandler, Conan O'Brien, and now Bill Maher. I wasn't planning on covering this because award shows are stupid. They're just an excuse for the rich and famous to get together and pat each other on the back. But this whole situation is completely unhinged, and once Whitney started crashing out, I just couldn't resist. Basically, the Mark Twain Prize is one of the highest honors a comedian can get. It's awarded by the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., and it's named after Mark Twain because he has a legacy as a political satirist. The whole point of the award is to recognize comedians who do the same thing. I actually didn't know this, but the ceremony gets filmed and put on Netflix as a special, and when you look at who showed up for Bill Maher compared to previous years, it ironically gets even funnier.
By the way, what a fucking fart huffing fest this is. You're going to put it an award ceremony of him getting a prize on fucking Netflix? Yeah, that's how I want to spend my Friday night or my Saturday night, is listening to people suck off Bill Maher in front of his face and act like he's special when he's not. Jesus Christ.
Conan's ceremony last year had John Mulvaney, Bill Burr, Nikki Glaser, Will Ferrell, Sarah Silverman, Stephen Colbert, Adam Sandler, and David Letterman. Kevin Hart's had Chappelle, Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Jimmy Fallon. Chappelle's had Bradley Cooper, Kevin Hart, Jon Stewart, Trevor Noah. And so, wait for it, Bill Maher got Louis C.K., Whitney Cummings, and Jay Leno. That's it. And then a bunch of non-comedians like
Stephen A. Smith? Oh, no.
Woody Harrelson, Ariana Huffington, Stephen A. Smith, and John Mellencamp. I don't even know who half of these people are, but you know when Stephen A. Smith is invited to an award show for a comedian, they've hit rock bottom. This is easily the weakest lineup I've ever seen. And when the fuck did they start putting this award show up on Netflix as a comedy special? First of all, it's an award ceremony. And secondly, how are they going to call this a Netflix comedy special when they could barely get 3 comedians to show up?
By the way, it just shows you nobody likes Bill Maher. Like, nobody likes him. In his own profession, nobody fucking likes him. That's why so fewer people went to his shit.
And one of those 3 comedians was Whitney Cummings. If you've been following this channel for a while, you'll know our history. She called me out for claiming she has bot views on her podcast and explained that they're not actually bots. They are paid Google ad impressions through YouTube. Yep, Whitney Cummings' podcast, Good For You, is actually a paid ad.
You know why. You know why you're trolling me about this. Because you know it will hurt my feelings. You know I'm nice. And you do have a heart. And you know I do care about what you think.
But I've covered that already, and I'm going to be upfront with you guys. Whitney is actually on the right side of this one, at least at the beginning, before she completely crashes out in Whitney Cummings fashion and butchers every bit of social capital she earned, but we'll get to that. Remember to check out the link in the description to my Patreon if you want to see all of my long-form uncensored videos. There's almost 70 videos on there already, and I'm dropping new ones every single week. But as for Whitney, this is how it all started.
I assume he just like wanted to put his name on it so that it was like, he just doesn't put his name on everything. I didn't realize he is the chair, the board chair. I also didn't realize he's like terrorizing the people that work there. Like I was practicing my jokes and people were like, yeah, we'll get fired if you say that. And I'm like, that is the worst thing you could hear before, as a comic, like he was kind of roasty, you know?
They added to the job description, they have to police the jokes in the
I
building?
don't know, like what a dork. I'm like, if he even watches this, he is such a dork. But I did cut a joke and I feel the need to just say it. And I'm sure it's gonna get us demonetized on YouTube, possibly kicked off. I may actually need to, Truth Social might be the only platform we have left to do this show on after I tell it to you. But for Trump to try to put his name on the Kennedy Center, well, he succeeded. For Trump to put his name on the Kennedy Center, this is petty even for him. But Trump has always hated John F. Kennedy because the Kennedys had Marilyn Monroe or he had a chance to grab her by the pretty sure all those words are bleeped if you're watching this on YouTube. And then I found myself trying to trade in jokes because I had a joke like, it's like Trump didn't make it tonight, he got caught in traffic. And if I shouldn't tell the jokes. Okay, it's in the special.
So that's what happens is she wanted to tell the joke about Trump's mad at JFK because he killed Marilyn Monroe before he got to grab Marilyn Monroe by the pussy. That was one joke that they said, I think they said up front, you can't have that one in. And she was like, okay. But she switched that out and said, oh, Trump can't be here tonight. He got stuck in sex traffic. That's a good joke, right? And that one she said at the Bill Maher event, they cut it out. And the people who work at the Kennedy Center were like, you're going to get us fired. Like if you made a joke at Trump's expense, you're going to get us fired. We're going to be fired because we allowed you to make these jokes at Trump's expense. This is happening at Bill Maher's Mark Twain Award ceremony. Mr. Free Speech. Mr. Well, actually, Trump's not that bad. The fucking comedians at your award dinner were censored to the high heavens. And you're not going to say fucking dick about it, are you? You're not. You're not. Because you got that award. That's what you really wanted. That's what you really wanted. What a fucking loser. Castrated by Trump in front of the world, y'all. And by the way, just to add a little bit of insult to injury, here he is on his shitty podcast that nobody cares about, Club Random. And this is the tone Bill Maher uses these days when talking about Donald Trump.
If at this point, 10 years into the Trump situation, you are still obsessing about his personality, my view is that's on you. Yeah. Should we always be criticizing, as I do, what he actually does while he's in office? Absolutely. But to keep just focusing on these personality things that we've talked about for 10 years, they're not going to change. That's who he is. I don't care when he calls me names now. It's like the way he does it. It's the way he talks. It's who
Go ahead, put me down, Daddy. Put me down.
he is. Of course he's going to hang a tarp on the building. He does these things which you can't even imagine. If you tried your hardest, what is he going to do now? Tarp on the building would never have come to me, but he is always going to do it. And when he does it, I just got to go, okay, well played. This is what you do.
Well played, because he forced his name on the Kennedy Center. Then a court said, you got to take that shit down. It's illegal. Then they took it down, and then Trump put a tarp over Kennedy's name, because if my name can't be on the building, neither can Kennedy's.
And as long as it's something that doesn't really affect me or other people, for real, I don't care about your reflecting pool.
You don't care about the reflecting pool where there was a no-bid contract where U.S. taxpayers were robbed and money was given to a fucking mafia boss where they stole it and did a shitty fucking job? So you don't care about self-dealing and corruption and bribery? You don't care about that?
I don't care about your ballroom.
You don't care about the ballroom. You don't care about the Epstein Memorial Ballroom where Trump is saying we're going to have drones in there that can attack Washington, D.C. and it's supposed to be paid for by billionaires but also by taxpayers. And there's going to be a state-of-the-art hospital underneath, and it's going to be his bunker for when he ushers in complete fascism in a police state. I don't care about the ballroom.
I don't care what you do on the lawn. You can have UFC fights. You can have sheep grazing there like one president.
Usher in idiocracy. Bill Maher doesn't care. He'll support it.
You can do anything. You pickleball. I don't give a shit what you do on the lawn. And if you're a person who does, you're just way too into Donald Trump.
We're the problem. You're the problem. I'm the problem. People who are against the corruption, against the bribery, against the self-dealing, against the humiliation of our country, against the embarrassment that is this fat pedophile, war criminal, terrorist, con man president. We're the problem. Not Bill Maher, who just sold his integrity for a fucking Mark Twain award that nobody gives a fucking shit about. You kidding me? This thing is now like the Nobel Prize, where that Venezuelan bitch got it, and then she went and gave it to Trump, and then Trump immediately went and started 7 fucking wars. The Nobel Prize means nothing now. It means nothing. It's political in nature. You can get strong-armed into giving it to fucking the biggest assholes in the world. It means nothing. Same with the fucking Mark Twain Award. So, hope you're happy there, Bill. No, real ones don't fucking need awards. I don't need recognition from others. I don't need a fucking award. Are you kidding me? No, be true to yourself. Tell the truth. Don't care about the consequences of that. Let the chips fall where they may, and which is the opposite of everything fucking Bill Maher's done. Bill Maher's been politicking like it's fucking Game of Thrones behind the scenes, sniveling little weasel, burrowing his nose in Trump's fat ass and sniffing. Get the fuck out of here with that shit, man. He's castrated himself for the worst president of all time, and now he's out there, oh, maybe he's actually not even all that bad. He's kind of bad, but not totally bad, but I got my prize, so it's cool, bro. And oh, what's that? I'm the free speech guy, and comedians were censored at my award show? Oh, I'm going to go ahead and shut the fuck up, ski, about that. Yeah, that's what we thought. All right, guys, that's the show. I love y'all very much. You know the drill. Everybody subscribe to the channel. Click that bell icon. Support the show on Patreon. That link is below. Thank you to everybody who does support the show. We're real independent media. I've never talked to an advertiser, never done an ad read, never will. You guys make that possible by giving $1 a month, $2 a month, $5 a month. So much love to all you. Thank you for everybody who tips with the thanks button on YouTube. You guys are awesome as well. Sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack and go sub to Corn's World. Love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.